Hello and welcome to another live chat. My background has now disappeared and I've now got to try and get my background back. So this is a great start to one of these lives, isn't it, where I can't get my bloody background back. Oh, this is the thing. There we are. Everybody, look at that magic. If you annoy me again, I'll make the sun disappear. Okay, so we've got the background back. So I've just started this live. I'm the guy that does prove that the Earth is a globe, and I prove that the dome, which is a firmament, is not really a dome. And I've done that many, many times. I know if you are a flat earther and a domer, I'm sorry, just watch my pinned video, or watch my recent video where I actually show the very first mention of the word firmament, and it's not in the Bible. The Bible copies badly the older text. And so if you listen to the translation of the tablets, it literally talks about the firmament being the layers between the asteroid belt. So the Anunnaki separated the heavens, that's why it's heavens in the Bible and heavens in the Sumerian text, which is space. They separated that, or they classed that as separated between what's inside the firmament and what's outside the firmament, which is basically the asteroid belt, which they call the hammer bracelet. So that's the first mention of the word firmament, and that's what they're actually talking about. They call it the hammer bracelet. So when you have these people saying that the dome is over in Antarctica, when all they've done is looked at the Encyclopedia Britannica and decided that the word dome is an invisible dome, when really the dome is just a name for a mountain range. But of course they didn't bother doing their homework. So, oh, hi Donna, sorry, yeah, it's one of those days I just thought I'd take my mind off of things. It's Mother's Day today, and doing these lives does help, but I won't be on all night, I can assure you. But thank you for that, hope you're well. Just scrolling down, see if there's any messages. Darren's wrote, are the reptilians still around? When you say reptilians still around, first we have to work out whether there was any reptilians before we can work out whether they were still around. So the Anunnaki were not reptilians. That's been proven. The only reason why silly people like David Icke, and I say silly people because David Icke I have a lot of respect for, until he starts talking rubbish, because he's dealing with a subject that he knows nothing about. And so he points to two statues and says the Anunnaki were reptilians because these two statues were squashed and therefore their faces looked a little bit weird. And he said, look, that's the Anunnaki, when we've got tens of thousands of carvings of the Anunnaki that look nothing like those two statues. So there's no evidence of a reptilian race being here at all. So when you asked, are they still around, the answer would be no, because there's no evidence of a reptilian race here. Just scrolling down, Iris just wrote, yes, you're amazing. Oh, thank you, Iris. Don't, because you probably guessed I have a little bit of an ego. So, yeah, so don't say that. YOC is right. Hello, Professor. Hello, class. Hope all are well. Hi, YOC. Nice of you to join. Happy Mother's Day if you are a mother. I am 40 years of research. Those of you who's just joined, yes, I'm the guy that's done all those videos. Yes, I'm the guy that's told you who Jesus' father was with evidence. I know, it's amazing. You can go watch it. No one's debunked. No one does, because it's got evidence. So that's on my website, outerhistory.co.uk, or on YouTube if you're interested to find the evidence that Jesus' real father was not an almighty being. It was an alien with evidence. And so if you, basically watch my videos. If you don't know who I am, what I do. Sean has wrote, does Nibiru have a moon and tidal seas? Excellent question. So I would suggest going to number 2 in the class for that. It's a good question. So we know Nibiru did have 4 moons at least, because they talk about the moons in the Enuma Elish and in the Columbia University tablets, and they call them different names. They don't call them a moon. but they call them like the North Wind and so on. And so when the winds start bashing into Tiamat, they're actually referring to one of the moons. Now that's not to say that they didn't have more than 4 moons, or that after Tiamat got smashed up and became the asteroid belt, that the parts of, because bearing in mind some of those asteroids are massive, that they may have ended up with a moon. Now technically we've got a second moon as well. It's a small thing, but it's just an asteroid that sort of got caught in our orbit, and it's technically classed as a moon. So the answer to your question is hard to say. They may have small moons now, or they may have had more than 4, but they 4 were the ones that whacked into Tiamat. Tidal seas, don't know, never read anything about that in there. They have got water and they did have moons, so the logic would say yes, they would have had tides, certainly back 4.5 billion years ago. But I would guess that they still have tides, because obviously if you've got tides, then you've got movement, and then you've got movement, you've got rain, and you've got the possibilities of chemicals bashing into each other, which can create life, and so on and so on. So I would say they still got some tides from back then. Scrolling down, this is live. I read every single question out. Child of Light has wrote hi everyone, or hey everyone. Hi, nice of you to join. And Deborah's wrote hi everyone too. Daryl has wrote, are the Anunnaki coming back? According to whistleblowers, they're already dealing with the military. Chances are they've been dealing with us in one way or another since they first arrived. I don't think the ones that stayed here, I don't think they just, left us to our own devices. And thank you, Messi, bless you. There's no way that the Anunnaki would have allowed us just to crack on, bearing in mind our years are quicker than their years, and therefore within a very short space of time we will end up, not necessarily smarter than them, but certainly with more technology than them in a very, very short space of time. So, in other words, 1 year of theirs is 3,600 years of ours. So, in 3,600 years of our time, where will we be with technology? Right now, we'll probably surpass the Anunnaki, whereas in 1 year of their time, they're not going to do that much. So, yeah, I think they've already been dealing with our military, I'm sure, as whistleblowers have said. So they're not going to come back and have cups of tea and stuff like that. We're never going to find out like that. Fitzroy has wrote, how do we explain the Anunnaki home planet orbit sustaining life? Serious question. So according to the tablets, the volcanoes were continuously erupting, which kept the somehow I'm guessing that the smoke or the pyroclastic, whatever it was that came out of their volcanoes, kept the heat in and the cold out. We know that because when you carry on reading the tablets, as time goes on and the kings are doing nothing, and we're talking thousands of our years, but hundreds of theirs, that their plants and crops start dying, etc. So we know that definitely there was an issue with their atmosphere, which they said it anyway. So NASA's admitted that there are planets out. Thank you, Deborah. Bless you. NASA's admitted that there are planets out there that can be heated by their own core. Again, thank you, Kerry. So if there are planets that can be heated by their own core, then it's possible that Nibiru could be also one of those type of planets. Now, we know that the Anunnaki were pale-skinned, which makes sense because they're not near the sun. That's why white people here struggle with the sun, whereas black people don't, or certainly not as bad as white people do. So that makes sense that obviously their planet is further away. So the chances are it was probably colder. Now, when they do come here, sadly, they landed in the Middle East, which is one of the hotter places on Earth. And they complained that it was hot a lot. So obviously they don't have that kind of heat on their planet, because obviously they're not that close to the sun. So my guess would be A, the volcanoes, and B, the interior of their planet may have its own heat source. Kane Can has wrote, the world is about to end in the next decade. When you say end, do you mean the planet itself will destruct, or do you mean our elites are going to depopulate majority of the people? So if you could let me know what you mean by that. Williams wrote bones. Not sure what just bones means. Would like a full point on that, just so I can grasp what you're trying to say. Sorry. Ian Jackson's wrote, there's another world around the corner. I'm guessing... Thank you, Eastern Coins. Hope you're well. I'm guessing you mean something religious, maybe, that God's going to restart. I don't know what you mean, to be honest. Sorry if you let me know. The Big Joe Show has wrote, hi God, teach us. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. Passive Scrollers said, who cares? And then wrote, please block me for being a numpty, because there's no reason for me to even write that. I could have just scrolled past. You do sound pretty amazing. Are you a genius? What's your IQ? Not going to tell you my IQ. It's very high, but again, that's not because I'm a genius, although some people may argue. My mum, technically, she probably didn't ever say that, but don't get me started on the IQ test. I'm just blocking you as you requested. Yeah, IQ tests are just for logic based, really, and I'm very good at logic, but I can't spell, can't do math, can't do a hell of a lot of other things, but logic I'm very good at. Tia's wrote, we stole one of the moons. We did indeed. Well, we stole Tiamat's moon, Kingu, which, I mean, technically we didn't steal it. If you read the translations, it was kind of dragged with us. So we was the head. This Earth was the head of Tiamat. So you can imagine that. I mean, they describe the planets as living beings. So you always have to just, even the Norse do. So you have to try and put yourself in the position of them describing a planet. You know, we're smart enough to know that a planet is a planet, and we'll just say, you know, the planet bashed into another one. They didn't do that. They were very dramatic, and they would say, oh, the hero Nibiru came round for another charge at Tiamat, and Tiamat's mouth opened as one of the winds of Nibiru charged towards it. That kind of baloney, really. So they were quite dramatic about things. So yes, so Earth, according to their tablets, is the head of... Now, obviously, it doesn't necessarily mean the head, but what's interesting is their tablets refer to the skull of Nibiru being placed somewhere. And if you go look up the Norse mythology, you'll see that the skull is also placed somewhere. Now, the new video of mine called Norse Creation is going to be out next week, which shows you everything with evidence that you're going to need to know about the Norse creation story and the Sumerian creation story. It's brilliant. You're going to be, just like all my other videos, you're going to go, wow, didn't know that, no one knew that, this guy's a genius. Hopefully. The Big Joe shows how many people actually translated the tablets, and how do they know how to translate? Fair question. Go number one in the class for that. So, there's the translations. So I'll start with how do they know how to translate the tablet. So back a few hundred years ago, there was a cave. I think it's in Afghanistan. Don't quote me. It was quite high up. Kids were throwing these stones up in this cave, and they heard a smash like a clay pot. And the next day they went up, found hundreds of these clay pots, and inside each clay pot had either papyrus or clay tablets. And so, long story short, what was in there was 3 different languages of the same texts. 2 of the languages we could translate ourselves. The third, which was the Sumerian, we couldn't translate. We didn't know Sumerian language. We didn't know how to translate it, but because we now had what we now call the Rosetta Stone, we could say, aha, that word must mean X, Y, Z, and this word must mean X, Y, Z, and so on. And then as time moved on, we ended up finding dictionaries from the Sumerians, so that helped understand what they were actually literally referring to. So that gave us, thank you whoever's doing the hearts, so that gave us the way to translate it. How many people? So Sitchin, back in around 2012, in an interview, said there's about 200 people that can actually read Sumerian as it stands. However, if you listen to Ivan Finkel, who is one of these people that can translate it and is the head curator of the British Museum, he said now that technology's out there that AI can now read and translate the tablets, because a particular company, I think it was Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, actually went to him and said, look, can we use our technology on your tablets? So he was telling us that Microsoft went there and said, and they did tests and everything, and it read the tablets fine. So down the line, not that they will ever show us any more of the juicy stuff. The only reason why we know about the juicy stuff is because the juicy stuff was written, approximately 100 odd years ago or the translations from 100 years ago, when this was before the Rockefellers could get their grubby hands and say, no, don't allow any more of that kind of text out there, because it's going to change the world view. Fitzroy's, how do we explain the Anunnaki's home planets orbiting sustaining life? So similar answer to the one before. It may have its own internal heat from the core, according to NASA. Not saying NASA's saying that particular planet has it, because obviously NASA doesn't want to let us know that there is another planet here. However, technically they have. There's a mainstream scientists have agreed that Earth was involved in a smash by a planet called Theia, or Theia, I don't know how you pronounce it. And of course, they're saying that Theia got smashed into and disappeared, and so did the other planet. That's pretty much what they're saying, which is basically Tiamat and Nibiru, and obviously Earth became part of, from Tiamat became where it is now. So mainstream do agree that there was planets smashing into each other at 4.6 billion years ago, which is pretty much what Anunnaki say. They say 4.5. So, and mainstream also agree that the asteroid belt appeared 4.5 to 4.6 billion years ago, which is exactly when Tiamat was smashed up, and so on and so on. So basically, mainstream agree with us, but without actually, if some of those so-called intelligent people actually bothered doing some research, these astronomers, the Brian Coxes and the Neil deGrasse Tyson, all these supposed people, if they actually bothered doing homework, they'd say, hang on a minute, these ancient tablets that predate the Bible talk about a freaking asteroid belt that there's no way on this planet anyone would have known. I can't look up and see an asteroid belt, can you? So imagine doing that back thousands of years ago in the Middle East and writing about it. So clearly they knew what they was talking about, and if one of those so-called scientists thought, do you know what, let's just actually properly have a look at these tablets, then they'd be going, wow, yes, and then they'd lose all their funding. And if they came out and told everyone that yes, Nibiru was real, etc., they would lose all their funding. They'd probably be ridiculed by mainstream media, which is run by the elites. Thank you, Don. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. I've not seen your name before. You don't have to. I do this because I enjoy doing it. So thank you very much. I didn't realise my battery wasn't plugged in. Sorry, one sec. I'm just going to plug my battery in. Sorry. That's better. Sorry, this is live. I read every single question out. If you take the time to write it, I take the time to read it. And Sean has wrote, have the Anunnaki ever mentioned nuclear war in our lifetime? In our lifetime. So technically the last lots of any kind of mention of any of the Anunnaki that I'm aware of goes back to approximately 1100, maybe 1200 latest. So we're talking about 1,000 years ago. So in our lifetime, if you mean in modern, let's just say the last 300 years, no. If you're talking about the Homo sapiens lifetime, yes, they use nuclear weapons. Yes, they tell us about it. Yes, the Bible refers to it. And if you want to know, let me know, and I'll tell you the passages that the Bible refers to. But yeah, so the Anunnaki, and we've got evidence of the nuclear weapons as well, with isotopes and stuff like that, and green glass in Egypt, and we've got the burn marks on the ancient statues from one particular angle. I mean, severe burn. We're talking, and then you've got the evidence also in India with the isotopes again, and radiation, which is still there, and the Vedas, which talk about the weapons that the Anunnaki use. Which, if you know the Mahabharata, you'll know that they explain that there was a massive bright light and a mushroom cloud and everything else. So they definitely used nukes, and they say it as well. They tell us that there was 7 nukes, and they even had names for them. Steph has wrote, "What belief do you have?" Luckily, I've always gone with evidence as opposed to belief. I know you could say, well, believing in evidence is a belief. So, in terms of whether or not there's an almighty being, I've gone with the evidence that shows that the Bible copied the older text. There's no debate in that. That's a fact. And with the older text, it talks about things that there's no way we would know about. Like I say, the asteroid belt and the names of the planets. Just think, everyone, for 1 second. The Greeks named all the planets after their gods. We did not know all about those planets until a few hundred years ago. So somehow the Greeks named planets that we didn't even know about. The Anunnaki named planets that we didn't know about. And we're sitting here going, no, there's an almighty being. Seriously? We've got tablets telling us stuff that there's no way on this planet anyone should know about, and we skip over that. Oh no, the Greeks just made it up. They literally named the freaking planets and tell us what order they're in. And oh god, it's too easy. The Big Joe shows, do you know anything? Do you know of anything Anunnaki did for entertainment, sports, challenges, etc.? Brilliant question. Go number 1 in the class for that. I think you was already number 1, wasn't you? If not, well done. So, yes, the Anunnaki had music. They had stringed instruments. They had lutes. In fact, some of the pharaohs, some of the kings from the king's list were buried with musical instruments. In fact, there's a queen in Ur, 65 foot down, buried, not 65 buried, but the temple was 65 foot under mud, sand and silt from the ocean. So yes, the flood was there. And she had she was 9-footer with an elongated skull, believe it or not. So she would have been one of the hybrid type ones like Akhenaten and Nefertiti, etc. And she had some musical instruments with her. And they also played board games. So they had board games. The board game is in the British Museum if you're interested, and Ivan Finkel, although didn't have instructions, has worked out what he believes is the actual game, and he plays it on YouTube. So if you want to look at Sumerian board game, just type in Sumerian board game, and obviously it wasn't Sumerian, it would have been the Anunnakis, because we were not that smart to come up with dice games at that point. I mean, you could say, well, we was, but the Anunnaki obviously needed entertainment. Bearing in mind, Inanna created brothels, so that was an okay thing. So ladies, if you're skint, and some men if you're skint, but yeah, and they also they did have later on in life, obviously, because their main goal, bearing in mind the Anunnaki, was here for gold. That was it. They weren't here to party. This wasn't a party thing. So down the line, towards the Greek period, there was they had horse racing, where they had these long. It's like a track that would go up and back round. So I don't know. It's just like imagine a scale electric track where it's just literally up and back down, up and back down, up and down. So it didn't have sort of didn't go off into the distance and turn and whatever else. It just went up and round and back. So there's evidence of that, and the fact they found some guy found one. Underneath, he bought this house, and underneath he found he was knocking through the basement, and underneath was literally the whole of this. I don't know. There's a name for it, but whole of this start of this whole race course, which is quite mental. And so now that he's made that into a museum down there in the basement of his property. But yeah, so then, of course, then they had the naked wrestling, which they told us right from day one on their home planet they have naked wrestling. The naked wrestling was originally when I say originally, the first mentions of it was to solve a problem. So they would wrestle, like we'd do rock, paper, scissors, they would do naked wrestling. So it seems to be a way of solving it. However, down the line, I would guess they may have also had it on their planet for recreation thing, but obviously we know that they ended up using that in Greece. Greece, for the Greeks to do their naked wrestling. Message wrote, "Great day, everyone." Oh, bless you. Thank you. Francis has wrote, "Could Hubble's telescope or any other NASA Voyager mission see any region near Nibiru?" Yes. Yeah. So I've been doing this 40 odd years, and there was a news broadcast with about 5 panelists on there in the 80s from NASA. And one of them actually mentioned Planet X that's in our solar system, and the other 4 stared at this guy like he was. They wanted to kill him, and then you could see that he was sort of backtracking and stuff like that. So they are fully aware, and that's where the original word for Planet X come from. So they are fully aware of it, and yes, obviously the Vatican's got telescopes that's pointing up, not for a god, but for obviously. If you work out that the Vatican was probably set up by one of the Anunnakis, which makes sense, because that was the last place in terms of that area that they were in Rome. So yeah, they certainly know about, and they could probably see Nibiru, which is probably why they built those DUMBSs, DUMBs, which are underground bunkers. They're city-sized. Make no mistake, don't sit here and think that, if you don't know about them, you ain't going to be going when the time comes. And Nibiru will come round again. I mean, in the tablets, it literally says that the Earth shook, and meteorites came, obviously, because as it comes, it pushes out some of those meteorites from the asteroid belt. And in fact, there's many ancient texts where they're having to stop meteorites hitting Earth. They go and they call them dragons and stuff, but they have to stop them from hitting Earth. And obviously, going back, every time the planet comes around, obviously it must dislodge at least 1 or 2 of those meteorites, or asteroids, should I say, in the asteroid belt. So yeah, they're NASA's keeping a close eye on, I would imagine, for sure. This is live. I read every single question out. Stop forced adoption. Sorry. I'm rhesus negative and feel I don't belong here. So rhesus negative comes from, in my amazing research, from the Anunnaki. It's a foreign blood type. Shouldn't have it. Was introduced 100,000 years ago in the Middle East. The Anunnaki bred with humans 100,000 years ago in the Middle East, which gave us demigods and so on, and the white skin and blue eyes in the Middle East. So pretty much, yes, if you've got rhesus negative blood, it's from the Anunnaki. There's no other way it could come here. And I know there's people out there that say, oh, it's from a rhesus monkey. That's them guessing. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. It's like there was some doctor He didn't. He didn't reply because and so I found this TikTok was this some eye doctor, and he says, "Oh, we've got blue eyes because of a mutation, thousands of years ago, X, Y, Z." And I did a pinned video after, stitched video, and said, actually, there's no evidence of whatsoever of that. However, and then I started pointing to the tablets where the Anunnaki bred with us and that they were pale skinned, etc. Do you think that doctor came back? No. Do you think he tried to debate with me? No, because he had nothing and I had evidence. So you are or at least your blood would be from the Anunnaki. Thank you for doing the hearts. The Big Joe has wrote, did you see that video about nasal lines telescope pictures looking like a city saying found in heaven? Yes, I did. A little bit of it. Yeah, and I just skimmed past. Because you've got to remember, heaven is space. So unless it's a spaceship in space, and we know heaven is space because literally the Bible and the older text refer to it as space by saying we can see the sun, the stars and the moon in heaven. And if that's the case, then I can see my parents in heaven. But no, you can't because it's space. So no, there's so many of these scam things now, and especially with Sora that's coming out, which is the AI video thing. I mean, there was a guy, bless him, and all he does is uses there's a couple of companies that do these 4-second video clips, and he's been doing black and white pictures. So you type in black and white, a woman holding a little alien grey type thing, blah blah blah, and tens of thousands. He's got like 5 million followers or something, and he's got people sharing them as if they believe them and stuff like that. It's quite crazy, and they're really crap. You look at them, you can tell straight away. But Sora, when that comes out, we are just going to be inundated with. I mean, when you now type in, the sad thing is when you type in now on Google Sumerian gods or Anunnaki gods for the carvings that I refer to, now they have so many people's own AI versions of. I use them myself. I type in on Midjourney, give me a Sumerian god. And I use it for my thumbnails. But when you have the carving ones, people are now looking at those thinking that they're real, even though they're not, and it's going to get such a... So going back to that fake thing, there is no heaven, it's space. Chubback has wrote, Jinns. I do like a full question, only because I don't know what you know. Imagine if you know more than me, and I start waffling on for an hour about the jinns, and you're going, I know that. So I kind of like a more of a direct question. Sorry, otherwise I could waffle on and you'd be upset with me. So the Big Joe Show has put some thumbs up. Whoopee, first in class. Oh, well done. Well done indeed. I'm not sure if you've now been twice in class today. Canuck has wrote, what happened to the Dropa stones recovered from the cave in China? It's a really good question. I don't actually know what happened to them. Obviously they were taken. I'm guessing there was some put in museums originally, but whether or not they're now still on show, I would probably doubt it. But it's a really good question, so I don't know the answer to that. I've not looked into where they are now. Maybe if you do, let me know. So I'll tell you what, go number 3 in the class. That was a good question. Daryl, shame I can't answer it. Daryl's wrote, is the original green tablet of Thoth still around? Only translations and original lost. That's the story. So the story is that the original tablets are no longer around. However, one could argue that knowing what our elites are like, did they hide them? Because obviously they're literally, the tablets, the translations are talking about things, in my opinion, talking about things that there is no way they should know back then. And even at the age of the translations, which is over 1,000 years ago, there is no way they should have known any of that kind of stuff that was written in the translations. So we know the translations are old, and we know they've got stuff in there that even me, the greatest powerful Wizard of Oz, every time I read it, I find something new in it. new in terms of important new, like, you know, the night and when it talks about the night and what was it, the night and dark, was it? I've not, my mind's gone now, but basically that means the jinn, which no one's worked out, but it took me like, Christ knows how many times reading it to then suddenly go, ha ha, it works. So so whoever wrote it, you know, even if you believe it was written only when, now there are some silly researchers out there that say no, it's recent. There was one silly researcher, I wish I could remember his name. I was so tempted. Someone told me go watch his videos. I said, please don't make me watch other people's videos. Anyway, this researcher turned around and said they're modern because, this is his argument, they're modern because people's books that he reads would have wrote about the tablets of Thoth. That's his argument. That is his argument. I mean, that you know, and the person was telling me to go watch him. There was loads of things that he said that was illogical and didn't make sense. And he was as bad as me. He's going, "Oh, I'm the best. I'm the best." And I'm thinking, no. That's why I should have probably done a video on him, just to knock him down a bit. But anyway, Brandon's wrote, your story doesn't make sense. The Sumerian dictionary would obviously be written in Sumerian. Correct. So once like I said, they found they found what they call the Rosetta Stone. They found other languages as well as Sumerian, all referring to the same things. So they then, from that, could start translating the Sumerian tablets. And as I said, they then found tablets that they already had but didn't know, obviously couldn't read them, found that later on, when they could read them, that it was a dictionary. And then that helped them understand a lot more. That's what I said. I'm very careful how I word things. Histories wrote, I might stay until shop opens yet so I can get cold drink, etc. before it gets hot. Oh, no worries. Thank you, History, for even joining. Walters wrote, hey, hi, hello, dear. Hello, Walter. Nice of you to join. Marheath has wrote, talk slowly, please. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I've got 99 more messages to go, and I want to get as much information out as possible. So I apologise if I am talking quick, but if I talk very slow or slower, people will disappear because they'll go, oh, boring. I do with other people's lives. You know, I sometimes listen to them and I'm like, oh God, they're just talking slowly, and it really annoys me. So I'm sorry. I know you might be like me, maybe from a different country, and trying to catch up with what I'm saying. I do have videos pretty much covering everything that I say on here. So if you're interested in the videos that you know, I talk a little bit slower on the videos, and some of them have the captions as well. So I apologise, but because it says there's 99 more messages, I have to sort of whiz through it. So I apologise, I really do. I know it's probably frustrating for you. Walters wrote, my problem, I am back in, but Supertramp, that's sense for you. My problem, I'm... Oh, water's gone. Okay, ignore water then. Thank you, History. Marheath has wrote, I'm from Holland. Yeah, I thought you might have been from a different country. I apologise, but there is lots of messages to get through. So, but like I say, I do have videos with a slower speech on. Marheath has wrote, not Adam. Not sure what that's referring to. I don't recall talking about Adam and Eve tonight. Someone wrote above Amsterdam. I don't know if that's what that's referring to. Donna's wrote, they get paid more not to tell you the truth. I would totally agree with you there, Don. That's the other researchers, or so-called famous researchers. I can see why Walter's now gone, because Walter says, what expert, ... My credentials stand. You just watch any of my videos and you'll see my credentials stand above. Donna's wrote, I did last night, remember going to bed thinking, I must stop bigging myself up. So if I do, just ignore it. Don has wrote, "You're talking facts." Oh, thank you, Don. I do actually. This is what. So I don't know if you've listened to me before, but the difference between my channel and anyone else's is I show the evidence, point to the evidence of everything that I talk about, unless I believe, in which case I say I believe because I don't have evidence. But other researchers, I'm not going to name names, Billy Carson. Oh, damn. He will just talk to the screen and tell you stuff that I can then debunk and have done pretty much every video he does I could debunk. And it's nothing personal. I just don't want people making up stuff like he does. Like 1 minute he says on one video Atlantis was an island, next minute he's saying Atlantis is Earth. You know, and I've done a video that's pinned on my TikTok that shows where Atlantis is, and by God, you know, it's the best out there. Trust me, just go watch it, you'll see. I mean, literally, I point to a circular city with lakes in between, and with Thoth's temple, which was Atlantean. Mine's just amazing. But yeah, so sorry, yeah. Walter, won't read Walter's out. Pro has wrote, so the translation is using ancient talk for modern tech. That's the confusion. So the problem we've got is the same as what we've got with the Bible. So the Bible tried to copy the older texts. So for example, the older texts talk about messengers. The Bible calls them angels, but the actual original word was messengers. And because the Bible takes parts of the ancient text where, for example, I know it doesn't use Enoch, but I'm using Enoch because Book of Enoch's amazing. Where Enoch gets taken in the chariots with wings by an archangel, bearing in mind archangels seem to be the pilots, and flown over water and flown here and flown there, and even goes into space if you read the Book of Enoch. So the Bible didn't quite grasp all of that, whoever was translating it, and they thought, well, there's no way someone can go into space, so let's say that these messengers, and obviously the word messengers in Hebrew is angel, had wings, which they did, because they talk about wings on the craft in the Book of Enoch. So unfortunately, their modern translation of the older tablets was wrong, and of course we have words in there that we don't know the translations for. So it's not like we're reading everything and saying, aha, we have it spot on, because the Sumerian language is very difficult. You can actually have, for one word, you could have 6 different meanings. So for example, one word, let's say the word Tirana. So Tirana in Sumerian could mean teeth, head, nose, eyes, ears. So this is why people spend 6 years learning how to read Sumerian. So we're not saying everything's spot on, because there are different translations out there from different people, which is why I read every different translation to try and work out which one's the closest. So it's a fair point you make. So I'll give you a little star for that. Sam has wrote Sahara. I'm guessing you're saying that the Atlantis is Sahara. Is that what you're saying? Which unfortunately has totally been debunked. So the eye of Sahara, the Rickett structure, has totally been debunked. And there's an amazing guy that's actually worked out exactly where Atlantis is with evidence. So just watch my pinned video on Atlantis. You'll see there's nothing comes close to it. Walters, I got told not to read Walters. Polly's wrote, interesting topic. Thank you very much, Polly. Sorry, it's just someone just got muted there. Hopefully someone blocked Walter. I'm just reading some of the comments Walter had said. So I think my moderators are amazing, and as soon as you get a whiff of some numpty, just get rid of them. It's easier than. Thank you, Mythic. Oh, that's a cool name. Thank you. You don't have to. Oh, thank you, Sherry. if I'm pronouncing those right. I'm terrible at pronunciations. I may be fairly good at doing what I do here, but I can't pronounce things to save my life, so forgive me if I bodge up people's names. Right, okay, I'm back. Blocked and muted and swore. Did he swear? What? Thank you, history. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you. It's sad, isn't it? Do you know what I get, guys? Listen to this. When I do these lives and I've got videos and everything else, do you know what I get? I get people swear. Do you know how many times I actually get people say, the tablet you're referring to is Babylonian, but it's blah blah blah, and and it's wrong because. Do you know how many people ever do that? None. I never have a debate with anyone because they don't know what they're talking about because they've not researched. So what I end up with is numpties that my poor moderators have to block because these numpties don't want to hear what I've got to say. Instead of just going, I'll move on. So, again, it either proves I'm right, which of course I am, but it also proves that they can't articulate an argument or a discussion. So I'm just going back to, you missed a question. Thank you, Sean. I'm trying to go back now to where I was. So Sahara, and then missed Walters out because numpty. Polly's interesting subject. Walters said something. Walter again. Big Juicy's wrote, honestly, reality is like that AC quote. Nothing real, everything is permitted. I don't know who AC is, but it's a very cool quote. Thank you for that. Polly's wrote, is this a parallel world, do you believe? Interesting way you've worded that. Go to number 3 in the class for that. So, in order for us to work out whether we physically have another parallel world or another dimension, we would need the evidence of that. So far, we haven't got any evidence of any second dimension. I personally believe there may be other dimensions. But a parallel world, once you start going into the parallel world, why would it only be one parallel world? You would need probably more than one for, if you're going to have a parallel world, why is it copying what we're doing now? You would probably see nature doesn't waste things. There's no waste in nature. So in terms of having a copy of something, I can't imagine them doing that in a parallel universe. So that then leads me to the conclusion that if there was a parallel universe, it's because it's a split off of this, possibly would, each time I have a different thought, another version of me does that different thought instead of doing what I'm doing now, and so on. So then that ends up becoming infinite amount of parallel universes for every person or every thing that changes its thought process or changes its actions. So I would say, in my opinion, that there's probably other dimensions, but I would probably not go with the parallel universe idea. Big Joe shows, right? I'm on a road tonight. First in class, twice in one live. Very impressive. Very impressive. See, I don't give out those. I just give them to people I don't really know. Sometimes I can't remember who is first or whatever in class. Who's on first base? No. Who's on second? So well done. But the trick is to get 1, 2, and 3. There's only a couple of people who's ever done that. So if you can get that, if no one's got 1, 2, 3 and the star, so if you can get that, then Pro has wrote question: why are the mountains giants? In what mythology are you referring to? Because I'm guessing you're referring to Sumerians. Why are the mountains giants? I'm guessing you're going down the road of those petrified images that supposedly look like giants. Is that where we're going with that? Now, the problem with that is you only ever get one photograph. Moana has wrote, Greek mythology explains that. Are you saying Greek mythology explains the giants, or because I'm not sure what these giants are referring to, if these are the petrified ones. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little confused on what I'm talking about at this point. Sorry. Sean has wrote, did they have coinage or how did they trade? So the Anunnaki taught us how to use money. So we have the shekels. Moana has wrote, yes, it explains the giants. Okay, let me get. When I get to your question, I was only 42 now, so I'll get to that and then we can go through that again. Sean has wrote, yeah. So they had shekels here on Earth, which come from Sumeria, which is the first place that they started teaching us. So the chances are that they had trade money on their home planet. Someone asked me this question yesterday, so unfortunately I can't put you in a position in the cast, but. Yeah, so I would guess that they have their own system on their home planet of money. Bazos wrote, are the Pleiadians the Anunnakis? No. So the Pleiadians are named that because they supposedly come from the Pleiades star system, whereas the Anunnaki are from our own solar system. Now, they did come from the void, which is... Wait for my amazing Norse video to come out the end of this week, or next week, sorry. But yeah, so no, the Pleiadians are not the Anunnaki. The Pleiadians also supposedly pale skin, blue eyes, majority of them blonde hair, very good looking, not as tall as the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are 8 to 12 foot. These are 6, 7 footers. That's about it. So no, they wouldn't be the same. Messi's wrote the original glow. I'm guessing that's referring to the Anunnaki skin, which has been described as glowing. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Harold has wrote, why are we here? You mean any life, or do you mean Homo sapiens life? Homo sapiens are here because the Anunnaki genetically modified a species, more than likely Neanderthal, because we've all got 99 point something % of us has got Neanderthal DNA in us, and they genetically modified that to create where this is why we have a missing link, because suddenly Neanderthal, Homo sapien, there is a missing link, obviously, because it's genetically done. And if you're interested in the evidence for that, guys, I tell you what, I'm going to make it so easy for you. Just type in on Google, comes up one of the first PDFs, and this is a translation of the tablets. There's many tablets where they talk about creating us Homo sapiens, but type in Enki, Enki. This is all you have to do, and you read it and you go, this predates the Bible and it's talking about genetics. Yes. So Enki, Enki, and Nimna, Nimnah, Nimnah. Enki and Nimnah sitting in a tree. Funny enough, she is his half sister, and yes, they did have kids. But type in that, knock yourself out, read that, and go, wow, our true history must be talking sensible, because this is actually translations of an alien race creating a being, and they fail 6 times. It says it in that tablet. So you will actually read the birth of Homo sapiens in that translation. Sorry. Blueberry has wrote, I'm a blue avian. Blu-ray quantum light. No problem. And then Blue has wrote, we are here. The funny thing is, the new episodes of Resident Alien have now got the Blue Avians in, which is really sad, because the Blue Avians were first mentioned by Corey Good, who then ended up being shown that he has actually fabricated his story. So unfortunately, when the script was probably being written for this the series Resident Alien, they probably didn't realise that Corey Good was going to get hauled up and proven, admits that he's been faking some stuff. So, but in other words, can we trust that there's blue avians? I'll let you figure that one out. Harold wrote, in general, I'm not sure what I was talking about. I am slightly behind. This is live. I read every single question out. If you take the time to write it, I will read it out and try and hopefully give you an answer for it after 40-something years of amazing research. And yes, that is amazing, because I am the guy that's told you the family tree. Go on my Patreon page. I have a family tree that no one's come close to. I've debunked the other ones because they're pathetic, without sounding rude. And I've got documentaries on who Yahweh was, who Jesus' father really was, not some almighty being, and so on. And just look at just go to my website. You'll see the amazing, groundbreaking stuff. Histories wrote, all religions welcome, but no preaching in the chat. Thank you very much for that. I'm guessing there were some people trying to tell us that we should repent. Maybe I do get that, and I say go watch my. Honestly, I do. I say, go watch my video on who Jesus' real father is. They don't. They never do. They never ever do. Blueberries wrote, there is a reset net around us. Interesting what you mean by reset net. Now, I've heard there was a quarantine around us. Is that what you mean? Damn has wrote, you don't want to be in there when the SHIT hits the fan, I'm guessing. I don't know where in there is. I was talking about DUMBs earlier, DUMBSs. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Blueberries wrote, we are all stars of energy. From my research, no, we're just chemicals that decompose when we die. The eternal part of us is a light energy being that joins with us in the mother's womb, which is what the Quran says, 3 to 4 months, to the pineal gland, which is what the National Medicine Library agrees with now also. And then, so that's really the energy. We're just chemicals that, sadly, come and go. Damn has wrote, better be outside when you will be anyway in a sec. Damn's wrote, bit they will be F. It's hard to understand what you're saying, Damn, I'll be honest, sorry. Rippers wrote, Google CIA Bloodlines of Illuminati, download and read, and then you'll know what aliens are, with a laughing face. So that shows me straight away by you putting a laughing face that you have no idea really what you're talking about, and that you believe other YouTubers on the internet without doing your own research. That's a very sad thing, Ripper. And then also you've assumed that I've not read things like that, which is also very sad. Bearing in mind I've been doing this for 40 years. So when you put your little laughing face, unfortunately one of us, I'm not going to name names, one of us is probably slightly smarter than the other one. I'll let the audience decide. Messi's wrote, I'm beyond excited for the Norse Anunnaki comparison on your Patreon. Thank you very much. It's, I know I mentioned it yesterday, but so the first part is going to be in chapters, unfortunately. But the first part is the creation, and it's a doozy. No Norse expert. I mean, I would love to send it to Norse experts and let them go, wow, okay. Because the funny thing is, don't want to spoil it, but the funny thing is there's 4 dwarfs in the North stories, and they only mention them sort of once. And the experts do not know what those dwarfs are. They have no idea. I do. And I show it with evidence. And you, Messi, I think you're a Patreon user, so you know when I say I've got evidence, I'll point to it. So I've worked out what no other historian's done. And I know you could say, well, who are you to say that? This is where people get blocked, because I'm I'm telling people stuff that, there you go, someone just got blocked. I'm telling people stuff, but honestly, they, unfortunately, because I got blocked, it's missed a chunk of questions. Oh, what a shame. Listen, don't if you don't like what I'm saying, just move along. There's no point in arguing with me. The best thing to do is if you want to upset me, instead of swear words or anything like that, tell me where I'm wrong with evidence, and don't just point to a YouTuber, please. So unfortunately, I apologise for that. I've now missed a chunk of questions, but I'm nearer to the end. Blueberries wrote, within self is your truth. Polly's wrote, "What are UFOs?" Technically, the technical word for it is unidentified flying objects. They've now changed it to the unidentified aerial phenomenon. But UFOs generally, I mean, let's cut to the chase on the point that it would be to do with aliens as opposed to our own ones that we've back engineered now. So yeah, aliens. Now, some of those UFOs could be drones and may not be piloted. Some of those UFOs could actually be sentient themselves, such as the large orbs. So it's an interesting question to say, what are UFOs? They could be many different things. They could be hybrid. I've heard stories of hybrid, basically like Farscape, if anyone remembers the TV series, where the actual Leviathan in Farscape is part alive and part a ship. And so I've heard stories of that as well. So it's hard to define a UFO. Because I've missed things, I'm having to skip some bits where people are talking about stuff that I have no idea what they're talking about, because unfortunately I missed a bit. Yaz has wrote, "Your account is familiar to me. Are you from Berkshire?" Oh, your accent. Sorry, this is why I was thick at school. So although I tell you I'm a genius, I'm thick. My accent is familiar with Berkshire. No, I'm not from Berkshire. I think my daughter lives in Berkshire. I say I think it's one of those places. I drive there. I don't just set the sat nav. Like I say, I'm thick. Okay, leave me alone. This is the only thing I'm good at. But no, I'm not from Berkshire. Mythic has wrote, "Greetings from Michigan." Greetings back, Michigan. The Big Joe has wrote, is true that there was a regal dragon queen known as Tiamat in Tablets of Destiny, or was Tiamat, I'm just going to see the next bit of this, a broken away from Earth planet? So you're kind of partly right. So the Tablets of Destiny, someone got angry with me and complained to TikTok. I've just got a message. And the funny thing is, the message actually then, after I had to do this little jigsaw thing just to prove that I'm real, then it said, TikTok wrote, "You're a genius, keep going, ignore the fact that you don't know where your daughter lives." Okay. So the Tablets of Destiny in the tablets in the thank you, Mr. In the tablets in the Columbia University, it actually says that Tiamat had the Tablets of Destiny, and the Tablets of Destiny was passed to Kingu, which was the moon of Tiamat, when it was about to have the battle with Nibiru and its moons. Now, if you go over to Penn Museum, they did a lecture on other tablets they've got that refer to the Tablets of Destiny, and they are saying that the Tablets of Destiny are something that can control the universe, which is interesting. Sitchin basically said the Tablets of Destiny were charts and things, how to get through the asteroid belt and stuff like that, which kind of makes a bit more sense, and also kingship lists, which, like decrees of, like we have the Magna Carta, for example, which the king signed to say he's not going to do this, that, and the other. It's things like that. That's what the Tablets of Destinies are, according to Sitchin. So, is the Penn Museum accurate, or is Sitchin accurate? I'll let you guys figure out now. So going back to the dragon. So yes. So basically, if something's got a tau... Oh, thank you, Mythic. Sorry. If something's got a tau in space, so even if it's got lots of smaller asteroids behind it, following it, so it doesn't have to be a comet per se. It could be a large body that has a trail of little small asteroids that's caught in its wake and or in its orbit, and thank you, Messi, and goes off. And so when you read the ancient tablets, they do call them dragons. Most of the time it's a comet, but Tiamat, or part of Tiamat, was called a dragon at one point, which is interesting. But bear that in mind, that Tiamat was a watery planet and was a frozen planet. Oh, how good am I? Well, you wait till the Norse video comes out to do with the frost giant. Oh, I'm spoiling it for you guys. Yes, I'm that good. That video comes out next week. However, I've got over 100 odd amazing documentaries that no one's ever come up with on my Patreon page. So you can get to everything from my website, ourtruehistory.co.uk. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. And then when Tiamat got broke up, the head of Tiamat, as mentioned in the tablets, was basically pushed or somehow ended up where we are now, which is Earth. And the moon from Tiamat also ended up, caught in our orbit, and it's now our moon. So Kingu is the name of the moon. So when Neil deGrasse Tyson said we don't have a name for the moon, it's only a sort of lunar and stuff like that, and I did a stitch video saying do your homework, you lazy sod. Don't just try and fool the people because we've got a suit and tie. Do your homework, for crying out loud. At least look back to the very oldest text and see whether there's any mention of the moon. And he didn't do that. Thank you, the Floral. Thank you. So I pointed out that our moon's actually got two names. It's Lamu and also known as Kingu. So basically, Neil deGrasse Tyson was wrong on two counts there, and so that's why I don't lie. I won't lie to you guys. I'll never lie. There's no point. People will catch me out if I lied. Metal Detector, who was the top goddess Anunnaki? Very interesting question. Go to number 2 in the class for that. So well done. So originally the top goddess would have, before they came here, the top goddess would have been the wife of King Anu. So I have done an amazing family tree. If you're interested, it's on my it's on my Patreon page. A couple of £1. You get over 150 something documentaries and that, long ones, 3 hour longs and whatever else that my research has shown. So she was originally the main goddess. Bearing in mind their race name is Gods. So when they came here, technically, at that point, when they first came here, Nimna wasn't, although she was a goddess, because that's their race name, she wasn't that important as such. I know it sounds really bad, doesn't it? It wasn't until she helped and gave birth to the first Homo sapien, able-bodied. Go read the Enki and Nimna tablets to see the other ones that were deformed. So it wasn't until then that she was then given the name Ninharsag, which was Mother Goddess. So she then became ultra important. However, down the line, when Nimna ended up, we're talking 5,000 years ago, when Nimna or Ninharsag, she's got many different names. Look at my family tree for all the different names that she was called. Then, strangely enough, Inanna ended up becoming the main goddess. And that's obviously, if you know anything about Inanna or Ishtar or all of the other names that she goes by, you'll realise why she was one of the main goddesses. I mean, she would slit people's heads right off. She's that kind of person. And they've got carvings of her doing it, or cylinder seals of her doing that. And I mean, if you know your Indian history, you realise that she's Kali, and then you look that she's holding people's heads. She was a real piece of work. And the more I learn about her, the more I realise that, as much as, she was pretty, because obviously she turned out to be Aphrodite in Greek, not Athena. I cocked up once myself. But yeah, so, sorry. Digress. This is live. I read every single question out. The Big Joe shows are breaking away from, I read that part. Time check from Kerry's 6 p.m. So I'm 30 minutes behind, give or take. So I apologise for this, but I will read every single question out. That's what I do. Esther's wrote, so glad people are finally waking up. Oh, bless you. if you read some of the comments that I get on the videos, they're so asleep. But these guys on here obviously are clued up and smart enough to understand that the tablets that the Bible talk about. Oh, if you're interested in seeing the evidence that the tablets that the Bible talk about were the Anunnaki, if you're interested in seeing the evidence that the Bible's talking about aliens, if you want evidence, you finally want to be able to say to people, shush, here's the evidence, which is what I do to people, and they never come back because they can't argue with the evidence. Do you want to see that evidence, guys? Do you want to be able to go to next time someone knocks at your door? And trust me, I've done it with Jehovah's Witnesses. I've blinded them, and you guys can too, because they didn't even know that the Bible copied. The Jehovah's Witnesses didn't know that the Bible. And I said to them, the word Elohim is a translation of older languages with the word gods. Was it? So anyway, if you want the evidence, all you have to do, and if you're religious, you please don't go there. You're not going to like it because it proves that the. Anyway, ourtruehistory.co.uk. It's on YouTube, but it's easier to find on my website. Ourtruehistory.co.uk. Scroll down to where it says "click here" in big blue. Watch that. Next time you have a debate with someone, just say you win all the time. I do, because no one can argue with evidence. Polly's wrote, do you believe the paranormal and UFOs are of same intelligence? So technically paranormal is a name for something that's not normal, and obviously UFOs are not normal and spirits are not normal. So technically they all fall under the same banner. So when you're saying, do you believe the paranormal UFOs are some same sort of intelligence? So technically, I'm guessing you're on about spirits and UFOs. So spirits, light energy beings, orbs, have sentience. They know what they're doing. They can communicate with us in sleep. They can leave our body. So these are not us. They're not our soul. It's an entity that joins with us. So they're definitely an entity. They're intelligent. UFOs, like I say, depending whether they're living UFOs or whether they're just craft with living beings in them, flying them. But either way, there's more intelligent species out there than us. I mean, this is what gets me when I read people's comments and they say, why us? Why are we here? And things like that. Forgive me if anyone said that earlier. It's just because people think that we are the be-all and end-all, and yet, there's chimpanzees. I use this analogy brilliantly. If you've probably seen the TikToks where chimpanzees got a monitor and like 12 numbers flash up in random sequence, different places. And within I don't know, a blink of an eye, the chimp knows what numbers and where they were. I'm still sitting there going, wow. So, we're not the smartest beings on this planet. Yes, chimps can do things that we can't. So, just because we can create a gun and control our environment, does that make us smarter? Makes us dumber, to be honest, because we destroy our environment. Mythics wrote, thank you, you're more than welcome. Sashaw wrote, you are talked about by many others as the English guy. Laugh out loud. Oh, thank you very much. That's fine. I am actually English. I would rather have been talked about as the genius that knows about everything, but okay, I'll stick with English. S just wrote, it's unfortunate some people don't even believe when you show them evidence. Ignorance is bliss. I know, there was some guy the other day that I was debating with on, well, it wasn't even debating, it was them being silly, and I said, go away and watch my video, the one I just told you guys to see. So if you're interested in that, ourtruehistory.co.uk, scroll down to where it says click here, you'll find that the evidence that the Bible copied Anunnaki text. You can't argue, no one does. Anyway, this guy's come back about a minute later and says, that's not evidence. And I said, it's like a 34-minute video of 3 hours that you obviously didn't watch the 3 hours because that's on my Patreon page, but the 34-minute is on. And he goes, I skimmed over it. And I was like, so you're right, ignorance is bliss for them. Polly's wrote, messages are of the UFO reports. Not sure what you mean, but messengers are of the UFO reports. If you're referring to the Anunnaki tablets that refer to messengers that do the same things that the Bible angels do, which is why the word is angels, because it's Hebrew for messengers, then yes, they were flying craft, if that's what you're referring to. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Sam has wrote, no, I'm not sure what you mean with that, Sam. I'm seeing a lot of people getting blocked, which is great that it didn't scroll me down to the bottom, so that's good. Sam has wrote, said that on nuclear site. I'm not sure what that's referring to, Sam. If you let me know. It says live, I read every single question out. You take the time to write it, I take the time to read it. Canucks wrote, reptilians claim that they are Earth's first inhabitants as ruling species before any other. Your thoughts? No, that's someone on YouTube saying that reptilians claim Earth as their own. That's pretty much it. So ignore them. Ignore that. Sherry's right. I love you. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Sherry. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because it's Cheri. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but thank you very much. Sherry's wrote Shuri. So I'm guessing that's the pronunciation of it. Shuri, as opposed to how I'm trying to pronounce it. Shuri. I will try and remember that. I'm not the world's smartest man, so I may forget. As many times as I tell you I'm the world's smartest man, I will forget that. So just ignore when I talk about how smart I am. Sean's wrote, you missed a question. So that was when I scrolled all the way back and hopefully found it. Polly's wrote, is the paranormal ghost stuff supernatural and UFO related? Now that's an interesting question. Go number 3 in the class for that. Well done. We've got a lot of people changing positions in the class tonight. Excellent. So the Greys, when I say Greys, the Orion Greys, not to get confused with Zeta Greys, the Orion Greys have been seen by many abductees saying that they've seen them with orbs. So these orbs are the entities. And now if you listen to Linda Moulton Howe, she said that a whistleblower told her that there's 3 different races, Greys, I can't remember what the other 2 were now, but they're all stealing each other's orbs, which are not their own. It's an entity. It joins with us. It's not our own soul. We don't have our own soul, because if we had our own soul, when we go to the next person, that means their soul was actually ours. So meaning my soul right now, if I've got one, if you believe that we have our own soul, my soul is actually from the previous person. But then it's from the previous person before that, and so on. Because obviously reincarnation is real. Go look up University of Virginia to see the evidence of that. So anyway, yeah, I digress. But yeah, scrolling down. Ask Miss Jen has wrote higher and lower realms. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, and I'd be interested to know if you wouldn't mind sort of just typing a little bit more out on that. Mythic has wrote, I saw another dimension and it left me feeling like I was hit by a truck for 4 days. So this is, I'm very logical, so forgive me, this is nothing personal or anything at all. The problem with that is you would need a sign saying this is a second dimension, or you would need an alien saying, hey, welcome to a second dimension. The reason why I say that is because the universe is huge. You may have seen the other end of the universe. Think of Star Trek, where no man has gone before. They go somewhere and it's all brightly coloured and everything else. Now, you might see that and think, I'm in another dimension, but technically you're still in our universe. So all I'm saying is, I know you may have believed you was in another dimension, but there is a possibility, because our universe is pretty big, that you may actually not actually be in a different dimension. You may still be in our universe. So that's all I'm saying. It's nothing personal. It's just how my brain works. That's how I can do these amazing research and not get bogged down with listening to other researchers, etc. But I'd be interested to know what happened to you. Thank you, Mythic. But no, I really would be interested to hear your story. Sean is okay. How did the Anunnaki trade? Did they have coinage to pay their slaves? So this kind of goes on from earlier about whether or not people were paid. So originally there was no... when the Anunnaki had the first Homo sapiens mining for them, they never had money. There was no need to introduce money to them, because these Anunnaki were 8 to 12 foot tall, and the first Homo sapiens in Africa grunted. So there was no point in teaching them anything other than, right, you sleep, stay, that kind of thing. And that's actually written about in the Columbia University. So one of the, in the tablets, and one of the, shall we say, foremen of the mining had to literally shout at the first Homo sapiens over in Africa to do what, to stop them from touching things that they probably shouldn't have touched. So there would be no benefit in teaching them trade or anything else. So it wasn't until they started teaching us after the flood that they, in Sumer, when they gave us the laws, the marriage, the textiles, everything come from Sumer, you know that, and money came from there as well. So it wasn't till then that money was introduced. So in terms of slaves, now there were, don't hate me for this, but there was, the Anunnaki had slaves, and there were humans that had slaves. We know that there's tablets in, or there's not a tablet, it's a marker stone in the British Museum that literally says, if you go past this and you're a slave, I'm paraphrasing, you will be killed. So slaves were not allowed to go past the marker stone, and those were owned by not necessarily a particular race of colour of people. They were owned by whoever was deemed in charge. So make of that as you will. So I'm just saying. Metal detectors wrote the jinn and others must work in different dimensions also. Again, the problem with that is just because like a spirit or a jinn disappears, if I showed you, infrared, you wouldn't see it. But it's there, but you can't see it. And radio waves and all this kind of stuff. So all I'm saying is people throw around the other dimensions quite a lot, when really, we don't even know what's going on here. So to add a complexity of another dimension, when really we could just be saying, they're just blinking out because they're out of our visual range. It's not that difficult to work out. So when you say that they must work in different dimensions, also I would probably say no to the dimensions until we get evidence there is a dimension. Sorry, I know I go on about dimensions, but I think if I started agreeing with people and saying, dimension, before you know it, we'd have billions of dimensions, and people saying, well, the greys are in there, and the thing is, a lot of people do. They say that aliens come from a different dimension, and I say, well, no, we've got the names for them. The Palladians come from the Pleiades star system. The Zetas come from the Zeta Reticuli star system. The Orions come from the Orion. The Dracos come from the Dracona star system. Why are you saying they come from a different dimension when we can literally tell you where they come from just by their names? But yeah, sorry. Moana, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, wrote Giants 2 Guys. And then Moana wrote Greek mythology explains that. So the person earlier was talking about giants, and I asked him, were you referring to Sumerian giants, or were you referring to, because he said something about mountains being giants, and I was interested whether or not that was to do with the petrified side, where people see petrified giants stuck to a mountain, which is interesting because obviously why couldn't they have just been anywhere else other than standing by a mountain when they got petrified? And of course, if you take a picture, there's only ever one picture. If you take a picture from 2 foot away, then that illusion disappears. So if that's what they were referring to. Rippers wrote, when I meditate on an object, it changes into a wave of energy like the double slit experiment shows. It changes into wave energy. So do you see the wave energy? I'm curious to know, because the double slit experiment, if I'm not mistaken, is the one where if you look at it, if you observe it, therefore it changes. However, the problem with that, I've already done a video sort of debunking that, sadly, is they put a camera there. So as soon as you add another external with power, external force monitoring something, you've now changed the dynamics of it, in which case the control that you originally had is now tainted, and therefore those scientists are a bit numptyish by saying that, oh, when you observe something it changes. Yes, you've just stuck a freaking camera there. And so that's why you should always follow me, because I won't lie to you. Moana's wrote Olympians. That's right. Well done. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Brent Lee has wrote, what's the deal on the Emerald Tablets and Thoth? I've been reading that claimed by others. I'm just seeing if there was any more on that. I can't see any more on that. So the Emerald Tablets of Thoth supposedly were written by Thoth thousands and thousands of years ago. And down the line, these tablets were translated, and they were genuinely translated, or we have translations of them, should I say, in different languages, Latin, etc. So the tablets themselves seem to have disappeared. However, the translations are still around. Absolutely fascinating. I personally believe those translations are from thousands and thousands of years ago, from the original tablets, because I tell you what, I have done on my Patreon page, as along with all the amazing family trees and other documentaries that I've done that shows why Stonehenge is there, who Jesus' real father is, I'm that good. I know it sounds big-headed, but just trust me. Go anyway. So I have done videos breaking down the Emerald Tablets, because I know there's people out there that don't understand what they're talking about. That's not me sounding big-headed. That's just because I've spent 40 plus years doing this. So I break down the Emerald Tablets. So if you are interested in understanding what the Emerald Tablets are referring to, yeah, it's there. Rippers wrote, what do you think about consciousness? So it's a tricky one. Is consciousness your brain switching off and on, and maybe having a seep through with, like pat on standby, but you still have your brain slightly active without you realising it to make you breathe, etc. So your brain's still on and standby mode. Is that consciousness? Now, some people will say consciousness is your spirit that leaves your body when you die, and your consciousness now is attached to that spirit, or was that spirit. So with me, with my research, the orb, the spirit, was an entity that joins with us, as the Emerald Tablets of Thoth says. So if you're interested in learning, watch my videos. So you can go to my website. I do videos on Emerald Tablets of Thoth without you needing to be a Patreon subscriber. You just go watch thousands of videos on my website as well. But the decent, well, when I say decent, the long edited ones are on my Patreon page, whereas the TikTok ones I do are on my website, so you can go watch them in sets of 5 or sets of 50. So anyway, the orbs learn from us, so I don't think the orbs are our consciousness. I think our consciousness is just a standby mode that fires off, images and thoughts as we do during the day, but in an REM sleep or in a sleep pattern. So I don't think the spirit and the consciousness are one of the same, in my opinion. Moana's wrote Nephilim. So to explain what Nephilim is, they are the sons and daughters of the Anunnaki and humans. So in other words, the Anunnaki and humans bred. They had children. Some, not all, some of those children had gigantism. They are the Nephilim. Not all of them, because we've got text quite happily talking about that. Moana's wrote, yes, explains the giants. In fact, the giants were also... So Enki, for example, was Poseidon, and Neptune also had giant children here on Earth, and here in Samaria, etc., and also when he was classed as a Greek god. They named some of the giants that he had as children. Tread has wrote, how the hell did I end up on this side of TikTok? And that's an instant block. There's no point in wasting my time. Sometimes, guys, just to let you know, sometimes people say things like that and they carry on listening and they think, my God, this is the best researcher in the world. Thank you very much. And then they actually ask sensible questions. So, yeah. Munier's wrote, was Ninurta Loki in North Pantheon? Oh, you're trying to find out a week before the video starts coming out. I can't really tell you here. I'll say no. I'm just going to put you out your misery. No. I actually thought that, this is because I didn't do deep research like I've been for the last 4 weeks or whatever it's been. I guessed, and I always said, I think that Marduk was Thor because of time frames and stuff. However, that was me thinking, and I admitted that I thought, so it wasn't me saying it as a fact. However, my Norse videos that's coming out with facts, Marduk wasn't around there at all. So, and neither was Ninurta. So you'll get that amazing documentary coming out next week. So I'm sorry it's a week away, but it's that good. You'll go, wow, that's good, as always. Moana's wrote, thanks, you're more than welcome. Troy's wrote, glad to catch you, dropping knowledge again. No worries, I can't help it, it's addictive. I'm Sears has wrote, was Jesus real? So I've done a video, you can go watch it, it's on YouTube, it's on my website. Just go to my website, outruehistory.co.uk, type in Jesus, scroll to find the one that says who Jesus' father is, watch that. Now, if Jesus was real, then his father would have been Marduk, and I show the evidence of that. Honestly, no one's debunked it. It's on TikTok, it's on YouTube, on my website. No one's debunked any of my videos, and I don't mean it in a big-headed way. It's because I show evidence, and I'm damn good at it, and I don't want anyone to debunk me. But if they do debunk me, then I will change my. If they've got evidence, not a problem. So, if Jesus was real, then he would have been the son of Marduk with evidence. So, go watch that and then you can make your own mind up. Ronald has wrote, what are your thoughts on Bashar and Chanlin? So, I'm just going to reword that for you, Ronald. Hopefully you're still here. What are your thoughts on Bashar and his amazing research that he did? However, you are better than him, because I've seen some of your videos where you prove that he cocks up, and you even show that it's amazing that his younger years he was researching the same sort of stuff, and then suddenly, out of all the people on the planet, 9 billion of us, the one person that gets an alien race that supposedly knows everything that we did here, even though they weren't here, goes into the one person that was doing that sort of research. Now, I've been doing that research, and I haven't had a spirit or an entity join with me and then carry on researching, which he does. But no, basically, from my opinion, plus the evidence that I've caught him out many a time, and I could probably catch him out on literally every video, same as Billy Carson and so on and so on. Go watch my videos, you'll see that I've pointed out errors that, in fact, I've got some videos on my Patreon page where I don't mean to do it, but that's why I stuck it on my Patreon, because I don't want to be rude. It's his livelihood, good luck to him. But I show evidence on some of those Patreon videos where a lot of these other researchers are just completely wrong. And I show evidence, I show them making their own mistakes, and then I show the evidence of why they made those mistakes. So, yeah, my thoughts on Bashar, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to be rude. It's his livelihood, good luck to him. I sit here with my eyes closed, and I could almost do the same as him. And I have more knowledge than him, because he got the Anunnaki and the Neanderthal and Homo erectus mixed up one time, and then on another video he changed it, and this is supposed to be a amazing entity that remembers everything that happened thousands of years ago, but couldn't remember which particular hominid species that was. Yeah, you get the idea. So, I mean, literally, I do close my eyes so I can see how easy it is for him to do that. John Sneers wrote, if I'm right, I think Jesus was a Sumerian. Go watch my video. Honestly, John, you're not far off. Go watch my video, and you will see that, unfortunately, Amen is actually the name of Marduk. You're going to go, what? That makes sense. Yeah, it does. Go watch it. It's everything's got evidence. Polly's wrote, have you ever heard of Morgue on YouTube? Morgue? I've not. I don't know what morgue it would be. I don't know whether that's a researcher, or if it is a researcher, I try not to watch researchers because, as you probably guessed, even David Childress, I've done videos showing where he's wrong. So there's very little researchers out there that can compare to me. And I know it sounds really big, and it is, but watch my videos, you'll see why I'm the best. I have to say it because I don't want to say I'm the worst, because you guys won't believe me and just run away. So I have to kind of say, I am that good. Just trust me, watch the videos, and if you think I'm wrong and with evidence, prove me wrong with evidence. Not a problem. But no one's done that because Mr. Thickers wrote, are we sensing an arrival with these woke people? I think it's getting worse, to be honest. If that's what you mean. Oh, maybe I'm reading that wrong. Maybe I think them. Yeah. In other words, they. Yeah. Probably. You have to be careful what you say these days. People get offended over the slightest little thing. Tin Tan has wrote, the Nephilim are also the Nephilim in Norse mythology. I have done an amazing documentary on Norse mythology. I don't want to give too much away because it's a damn good. Well, so yeah, just hold off, and then if you watch it and you feel you're right, then great. Compared to mine, because I give evidence as well. So just yeah, that particular video will be out starting next week, starting the end of next week. It's all edited, the first one, the creation one. I'm Caesar's... Oh, thank you, Nikki. How are you? Hope you're well. Thank you. Nikki, I'm Caesar's wrote, no, just got here. I wanted to know his thoughts on Jesus. No problem at all. I'm Caesar's wrote, the last 2 to 3 years, I just can't stop the argue to learn more about him. So, unfortunately, with my research... Oh, thank you, Mr. Thick. So I do let people know that when it comes to Jesus, I stop at when he was born. And the reason I do that is because everything else I look into, I can double check things. So with the Norse, I can double check it with the Sumerian and so on. With Jesus, there's nothing to double check. There's nothing I can go to. So, with Jesus' father, I can go and watch my video. You'll see why I did an amazing job on that. But after he's born, and all the miracles and all that kind of stuff, I can't double check anything, so I don't look into it. Metal Detector wrote, timelines are our true time, but things change. Timelines, different dimensions working together. I mean, it's possible, but obviously we don't know that there's a second dimension yet. But it's possible. I'm Caesar wrote, I never grew up on religion or anything. My parents didn't force anything on us. I mean, see, the thing is, all you have to do is use a little bit of logic. Sometimes, I'm not saying you, but sometimes people really don't use logic. So the first thing that I done was, okay, where was Jesus? Middle East. Where was the Anunnaki? Middle East. Okay, what did God want his son to do? Take human women and have their wicked way with them. What? Well, it says it in the Bible. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does actually. When the sons of God took unto them the daughters of man. Those sons, the Ajiji, which were the actual Anunnaki sons, because their race name was gods. So, okay, all right, not them then, even though technically they should be God's brother because they're in the Bible. But hey, let's forget that one, as they always do. So then I look at Jesus. Okay, so what is his job? What was he put here to do? Spread the word as monotheism and eventually die for our sins, really, pretty much. So then I said, okay, so at this point, 2,000 give or take years ago, there was people all over the planet. So as an almighty being, me being as logical as I am, where would I put a sun? Well, I'd put one at least on each continent. Okay, fair point. All right. But if I put Jesus down, I'd make him able to fly so he can get to everywhere. Because there's no point in spreading the word just in the Middle East, because there's people over in America at this point, Mesoamerica and stuff. So, okay, well, then I would say, well, what about God then? he was the God of Israel. No, he wasn't. He was the God of the universe. Don't say he was the God of Israel. But people call him the God of Israel. Why? Because there was other gods. There's other gods in the Bible? Yeah, over 200 times it's mentioned. So you see where I'm going with this. So when you start using a bit of logic, you realise that the gods in the Bible are the Anunnaki. I proved that on my video. If you want to see the evidence of that, go to my website, outtruthhistory.co.uk. Scroll down on the homepage till it says click here, you'll see the evidence. And that sort of rules that whole almighty being thing out the window. Polly's wrote, we are all gods. Technically, most of us probably have some part of the Anunnaki inside us. I say most of us. I don't know how it all dilutes down over different generations, but I would imagine we all have some part of the Anunnaki in us. Sam has wrote Sahara as one of the nuclear sites. Oh, that was when I was talking about the Anunnaki using their 7 weapons. So the 7 weapons were used to, the nukes were used to try and wipe out Marduk. Sahara didn't have Marduk there. So I would probably say no to that. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts on to why you say one of those 7 was in Sahara. Sorry, I was just going through the whole permutations in my head. Metal Detectors wrote, feed the birds, everyone. I'm not sure what that is. That's probably some trending thing. Sean has wrote, what's your take on starseeds and children of light? There's silly people. How do I say this without sounding rude? There's people out there that say they're starseeds, etc., but they have no idea what their job is and and they, let's be honest, they make it up. So there are supposedly orbs that had already been round in humans that are now on other planets that was asked to come back and help raise our consciousness over 50%. Which was supposed to be in tranches from the 60s onwards. However, I can't see any differentiate between 60s to now, unless you say raising our consciousness now makes us, change genders, etc. I can't see any sort of differences in terms of mental states other than that, really. And the fact that we allow large companies to do whatever they want, and people like Bill Gates to do what they want. But so I don't really see that as anything, to be honest. Message wrote, Resident Alien show is hilarious. Started watching it per your recommendation. Thank you, Messy. That's lovely. I'm so glad you enjoy it. Yeah, it's a really good show. It's actually directed by Neil, the guy that was in Voyager, who was also actually in one episode of Next Generation. Sorry, I digressed. Brent Lee has wrote, what are the Emerald Tablets and who is Thoth? Thoth was an Anunnaki, also known as Ningazida in Sumerian. The Emerald Tablets were supposedly written by him, explaining all about the underworld. And when I say underworld, not freaking hell and red devils with horns and baloney like that. Talking about where the entities, the orbs are, and talking to them and finding out about them and finding out about reincarnation. It says it all in the Emerald Tablets of Fire. You just have to read it a lot of times for it to start clicking in. It's mental. But yeah, so that's what the Emerald Tablets are. Beacons wrote Sus, Benacons. Sus, I'm not sure what that's referring to. Ripper's put a little laughing face. Now, I haven't read the rest of it, but as soon as someone puts their laughing face, as you've probably heard me before, it means that they've lost the argument. It means that they have no way of debating with someone. So let's read what this person says after they put a little laughing face. Nah, I've done my own research, which means you haven't, because you put your laughing face. And do you know what? If you'd done your research, you would have said to me, your evidence is wrong because, and gave me the reason why. But no one does. No one. That is why I have that little bit of an egotistical thing, because I'm that good. I'm just going to block this numpty because this is obviously just wasted 2 minutes of my time explaining why I'm that good. Sonia's wrote, if ancient aliens made us, who made them, in your opinion? Chemicals. So just all you have to do is type in, can chemicals create life? And it tells you what kind of chemicals create life. And when you realise that everything, including space, is a chemical, not me saying that, mainstream, then you realise that if everything is a chemical, then when chemicals get together in the right conditions, chemicals can create a spark of life. And in fact, the Sumerian tablets talk about Nibiru having life on it. These are the tablets in the Columbia University website, not website, but Columbia University. Babylonian text saying that Nibiru had life when it smashed into Tiamat, which gave Tiamat life, which ended up becoming Earth. So chances are our life started because Nibiru had life, which makes kind of sense because when they brought sheep down, sheep were happy living here. When they came here, they were happy living here. When they brought goats down, and yes, they say in their tablets they bring sheep and goats and a few other bits and pieces from their home planet. And now, funny, the creatures that they do say they bring down have the slit eyes. Think about that, guys, and then start thinking about octopus. Not cats, not those kind of slit eyes, but sheep and goats have those weird shaped eyes. And the Anunnaki say they brought them down. Ben O'Connor's wrote, all alien stories are fabricated. I'm just going to block that person. There's no point in replying to that. All alien story. What a numpty. So the people with implants that don't want to be known, that have missing time, that go to hypnotists and then find out that they've been abducted, and then they find out that they've got an implant in them that then gets taken out by Dr. Roger Lear, and then find out that those implants have an almost AM type frequency to them. They're fabricated, are they? Numpty. Numpty. Scrolling down, Rippers wrote 13 years in the Marines. I know about the kids being trafficked. It's a fact. Unfortunately, I don't talk about that. Not because I don't want to. So when I do my research and it starts taking me down sort of the stupid route of people worshipping Satan, even though obviously Satan was just an adversary of the Anunnaki. Watch my vids. I explain everything in detail with evidence. But yeah, so when it's when kids get involved, I don't like looking into it. Not because I don't want to. It's not. I can't do it. It's not. So I totally believe they are. But it hurts me too much to look into that. Wee Joan has wrote, hi, new follower. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say as well. Thank you. Beacons wrote, I want to ask stuff. I want to ask him stuff. So if you want to ask me, you'd need to be a Patreon subscriber, unfortunately. The higher tier, it's only a couple of quid. But I do that so that I don't get bogged down with, not saying you're a numpty, but as you see, there's numpties out there that if I start letting them on, they start talking crap. And B, it gives something back as well as those amazing long documentaries on my Patreon page. It gives something back to, not, it sounds really bad, gives something back as if like I'm a prize that they've won, but it gives them an extra thing that for a couple of quid you get 150 documentaries, long documentaries, 2 audio books worth £18 each, all this stuff with evidence as well. You never, trust me, you're not going to find this anywhere else. Crystals wrote, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. ASAP, to be able to respond with grace to haters. I hear you. When I've got a couple on my website. I've got some first of these live chats that I started doing, because although I've been doing this for 40 years, it wasn't until TikTok came along a couple of years ago for me that I started doing these lives and actually finally talking to people about all my research. And you listen to me then, I'm like, oh, sorry, hello, please don't say that. And now I'm like, numpty, get back to the back of the class. Because what I've realised in those 2 years is how I am that good. So you know, if you keep listening to me and look at the evidence, and always do your own homework as well. I know there's people out there that double check everything I do. There is, and I know them, and they will pull me up if I make a mistake. And touch wood, they sort of pretty much haven't. I made one error on one word, but that was, you know, not too bad out of 2 years of evidence, or 40 years of evidence. Benacond wrote, what model of Earth do you believe in? Watch my pinned video. So I've got 3 pinned videos if you're interested. One is where Atlantis is. Trust me, no one, thank you Joker, bless you, no one's come close to it. Okay, so I know people go, oh, it's the Sahara, because I've listened to Bright something on YouTube or whatever. I've got a sunken city in concentric circles. Thank you again, Joker. I've got lakes in between. I've got it sunken. So, yeah, anywhere else hasn't got a sunken city to start with. Mine's a circular, sunken, concentric laked city. Exactly where it should be, as opposed to, for example, the Eye of Sahara, which is over 2,000 miles, whereas Plato says, no, it's a few hundred miles past the Pillars of Hercules. So then I've got 14 points that match, not Plato, because I don't go by Plato, because I'd be stupid if I went by Plato. Plato's an author. Plato didn't get his information from Solomon to write 4 hours worth of descriptions of Atlantis, including the depth of some of the lakes. Seriously? Which Solomon would have got off of a priest that would have got off of 8,000 years before, someone from Atlantis, that wasn't written on a wall. Do you know how long that wall would be in hieroglyphics to write 4 hours worth that Plato then ended up writing? Think about it. But those silly researchers that come out of all those other places do not think about that. I do, because that's why I'm the best. So go watch my video. So that's one on my pinned videos, is Atlantis. So if you want to see where Atlantis really is, and I've even got Thoth's temple. Do you know when people say, who's Thoth? Thoth the Atlantean. His temple is been found on the island that was Atlantis, that sunk, that I'm pointing to with evidence. It's too easy. So that's one video that's pinned. The other one is to do with whether or not the Earth is flat or round, with evidence, and no one's debunked. And go read the comments. I don't delete them. Just go read them. And not one person said you're wrong, because they can't even. They don't. They turn it off, basically. They can't. So it's a globe, and you know, even the Greeks had globes. We've got 2 globes from the ancient Greeks in museums. Polly's wrote, could supernatural be the paranormal be linked? I mean, technically, anything paranormal is not normal, so a spirit is not normal, and therefore supernatural would also be not normal. So you kind of need to define what you're referring to a little bit more than that. Sorry. I'm guessing you're referring to, well, I don't know, because to me both those are, you know, normally most people, when they refer to the word paranormal, talking about spirits and stuff. So if you let me know what you mean, sorry. This is live. I read every single question out. I do have a website, outruhistory.co.uk. Piggle Line has wrote, hello from the Norse. Ah, brilliant. You are going to love my Norse video. If you know anything about the Norse gods, I have worked out with evidence that no one else has done, the video's coming out next week, the connection between them and the Anunnaki. No one's done it. You'll see. I've done that with Jesus and everything else, and Yahweh and that. No one else has come close. I know I keep going on, but I'm trying to get you guys to watch it. It's like a little me trying to hype it up, but they are that good. We has wrote, trying to tell, someone's just got probably muted. It scrolled all the way to the bottom. Sorry, then scroll all the way back to wherever I was. I hope I haven't missed any. Sorry. Yeah, I haven't missed any. I've just got to find where I was. Apologies for this. Sometimes when someone gets muted or blocked, it scrolls me to the bottom. Just trying to find where I was. Yes, I am big-headed, but just ignore that part. Nearly there. This is live. We're reading everything thing out. We are gods. Who is Thoth? Nearly there. Nearly there. Don't run away. You'll learn stuff, honestly. The one talking about the kids. I want to ask him stuff. Nearly there. From Norse. Yeah, sorry. So I was going on about that. Yeah. And then, sorry, we Joan has wrote, trying to tell Ma X all this but doesn't listen. But I am started Ma Paranormal and bought AUs, etc. I'm not sure what AUs is. I'm trying to tell my ex. I'm guessing you mean your ex. All this stuff. It's very difficult. The best thing to do is point them to my video and tell them to shut up and sit down and watch it. This is the big one that proves that the Bible talks about the Anunnaki. So that's on my website, outtruehistory.co.uk. Scroll down to where it says click here. No one's debunked it. Tens of thousands watched it. It's evidence-based, 100% evidence-based. It even goes into whether or not the tablets are made-up stories. It covers everything. I cover every angle so that people can't say, but how do you know the tablets weren't made up? I go through it all. That's how good it is. So yeah, put that person to that video there. Tell them to shut up and sit down. Watch that and then go, okay, there's no way you can debunk that. There's none. And I don't even use Sitchin, Zachariah Sitchin for the reference. I don't, because I know people out there say, Zachariah Sitchin's made this up. He's a Freemason, blah, blah, blah. So it's that good because I don't use Sitchin. Martin's wrote, good evening, brother. Hope you and your family are well. We are, thank you very much. Troy has wrote, this guy knows his stuff. Thank you. I don't. If you can come on every time, I don't have to keep bigging myself up. So I'll just read your stuff out. Thank you. Right. So it's Sherry, but she forgive me if you're not a she. Had wrote Shuri. So I'm going to try and remember that. What do you think the odds are that I have something to do with the Pleiadians? I ask because of. Countless synchronizations since my awakening 4 years ago. So supposedly the Pleiadians are one of the races that try and contact us while we're sleeping to help us evolve. So if that's true, then that could explain your side. Now, it's possible also when President Eisenhower had the meeting prior to the Tall Whites, when he signed the Grenada Treaty. Prior to that, a week or two before that, he was visited by what some people say were either the Nordics or the Pleiadians, and offered to help clean up our oceans, etc., if we got rid of the nuclear weapons. And of course, Eisenhower, being a military man, said not happening. And then 2 weeks later, the Tall Whites set up a meeting, and Eisenhower said, yes, you're allowed to take people as long as you tell us who you kidnap and abduct and experiment on, and in return you'll give us technology, which they didn't really do according to whistleblowers. They negated on it. So the Pleiadians is a possibility. Now, if you go by Billy Meyer and the Plajarans, which are really Pleiadians, is what he's faked the name of. I've done an amazing documentary where I actually show evidence that he faked it. I mean, proper evidence that he's actually got a set that he's built and he's walking behind the set. I mean, so bang to rights. But that documentary is on my Patreon page as well, with loads of other documentaries. Polly's wrote, what's your thoughts on astral projection? Yeah, I do believe people can do it. I mean, remote viewers sort of do very similar to that, where they leave their body in a way without feeling like they're leaving their body and can actually see things elsewhere. With astral projection, it's possible that the orb leaves your body just like you would have in a near-death experience, but you're not dying, obviously, and the orb goes wherever it needs to go and then snaps back into your body. So I can't say no to that, because when I did a Ouija board with my mum a few years back, and we got my dad, and I asked, because I'm very logical, as you probably guessed, I asked, can you read my thoughts? And it went to yes, and I thought, right, I've got you, my mum. I actually thought I was going to catch my mum out. Sorry, that's someone ringing. Anyway, it said, yes, I can read your thoughts, and so I asked questions in my head, and the answers went to exactly what I wasn't pushing it. So there was no. So basically, it means that there are spirits out there, and if there's spirits, then astral protection, from as far as I'm concerned, can actually be real as well. Sans Gems has wrote, hello, nice of you to join. Beacon has wrote, why is alien technology being used in everyday life? Like, who is covering it up? Why is alien technology being used in everyday life? Like, who is covering it up? I thought you was going to say, why isn't alien technology? You mean, for example, like lasers? They came from the Roswell crash. What else came from the Roswell crash? The fibre optics came from the Roswell crash. So they get past the third party, so the military stay out of it, and then these third parties basically make money out of selling off and pretending that they're the ones that come up with these technologies. So it's to do with money, is the answer to your question. They're not going to tell us that these things come from aliens. Cherie has wrote countless synchronizations. I read that one. Kerry's wrote 6:35. Wow, I am really behind, but there's only 45 messages left, so I'm nearly there. So don't worry, I'm getting to your. So ignore that hour behind. I'm not that far because I can see only 45 messages. Most of that's probably people chatting to each other. So don't panic. This is live, as Messi has just wrote. This is live. OurTrueHistory.co.uk reads every question in order. Please ask a full question. Oh, thank you, Messi. Messi's somehow ended up becoming a valuable source. Thank you very much for your help. Beacons wrote, meant to say, why isn't alien technology being used? I thought, yes, I was right, wasn't I? I kind of guess you meant that. Thank you, Mythic. No, I'm not a mind reader. I just use logic, and I figured, why was that person saying that instead? And thank you, Shuri. So why isn't alien technology? It is because they, like I say, the third party companies rehash it and send it out and sell it, and the government make the money off of that. Pig Lines wrote, interesting for me as a Norse. Yeah. So you probably heard me earlier. I thought that Marduk was Thor, and I always said I think. However, now I've got evidence to say that he wasn't. So you're gonna love the Norse videos. It's amazing. Tom Tum has wrote, there are other exotic entities that are around us a lot of the time. They can manipulate. Be careful. Be interested to know what you're referring to. Shuri has wrote, I just want your opinion because I feel lost and stuck in this awakening, and I believe your truth. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. Yeah, like I say, there's people out there that have said that they've been contacted by the Pleiadians. So I can't say no to that, because obviously there is, as far as I believe there is aliens out there. I mean, we've got enough. I think we've got enough evidence to prove it. Let alone the Anunnaki. Obviously, we've got fused chromosomes, which was only done in a laboratory setting. So, us humans are proof that aliens were here. So yeah, there's no reason. Now, if they are talking to you or in any shape or form, then it's a good thing, because they're trying to help you become higher evolved in terms of spiritually. Well, not spirits as in, bloody angels, because they're just messengers, Anunnaki messengers. But thank you, History and Coins. But a higher frequency basically is what they're trying to do. Tom's wrote, clear the mind and trust your inner self. Tom's wrote, there's nothing you can do to change this, just harden yourself and protect your mind and soul. Electrocution has wrote, what's the name of the moon again? So, forgetting what we call it now, if you're referring to the old names, it was Kingu, Knigu, and Lahmu, not to get confused with Chlachmu, which they're very similar. One's got sometimes it's also spelled with a Q, but one's got just look up Kingu, and you'll find you should come across Lamu as well. Shuri's wrote, body was at the end of my bed looking at me. Ah, okay. Usually I fight to wake up. Okay, so that probably wouldn't be a Palladian then. That would be more in the realms with chatting with History and Coins, who I think is still on this live. So I would suggest you follow History and Coins and have a chat with her, if you don't mind. She will be able to go into more detail about that with you. Electrocution's wrote, what's the name of the moon? I read that one. Beacons wrote, no disrespect, but how do you know all that you believe is true for sure? Watch my videos. History's wrote, yes. So yeah, follow Shuri, follow History and have a chat with her. She's got a very nice lady, and she'll chat to you and explain stuff to you. She's been researching the spirit side for a lot longer than I have. So how do I know what I believe is true? Because I double check it with other things. That's why when I said earlier I don't look into Jesus as much as I'd like to, I can't double check it. And so when you can double check something, you've got far more greater resources to prove that you're correct. So for example, if I said that Earth was from a smashed planet called Tiamat, and that's from the tablets, what else could we back that up with? Well, actually, mainstream now say that there was a planet called Thea that got smashed into, and so basically Thea is Tiamat. So you realise then that, okay, mainstream's agreeing that there was a smashed planet 4.5 billion years ago, give or take, and so on. And so I double check everything, and that's why if you watch my videos, you'll see that I double check everything, because I'm that good. Unlike some of those other researchers, when I say some, 99% of those other researchers that you've seen on Ancient Aliens, they're not all telling you the truth. Sadly, they not saying they're lying to you, but they just haven't done their homework properly, shall we say, and they're quite happy to just blurt out stuff without evidence, and I can't do that. If I don't know it, I'll say it. This is live. I read every single question out. Shuri's wrote, well, I'm already awake, but I fight to snap out of the paralysis. Yeah, have a chat with History and Coins. She will chat to you about the type of figure that you saw, whether it had a hat. I know it sounds silly, but there's a hat man thing and shadow people and all this kind of stuff. So she would help you far better than I would, certainly at this point in time. Troy's wrote, Enoch explains a lot. It does indeed. The Book of Enoch, I'm guessing you're referring to. Max has wrote, stop yapping, just say it. Unfortunately, that's how I work. So you don't follow me, so I'm just going to block you. I'm just not. You obviously want to cause a conflict, so if you don't follow me, you're not. And bearing in mind, I've probably been chatting for long enough for you to hear whether or not I'm talking sensible, and you still don't follow me, so there's no point in me yapping. Rippers wrote, the Bible is definitely a story of the Anunnaki. Yeah, it is. Luckily, I'm the only guy that's bothered doing the evidence to show that, and that's on my website, outrohistory.co.uk. Scroll down to where it says click here. There's your evidence. So if you're interested in seeing that, feel free. It's there. Shuri's wrote, History and Coins short, is there a way to communicate with people individually? Yes, so once you follow History and Coins, she'll follow you back, and then you can chat in the background on what they call a DM, direct message. Apothecary, I'm terrible at pronunciations, and a lot of these usernames ain't actually pronounceable. Is there a list of things that don't exist? It's a double-ended question there, I'm afraid. So I can't give you the answer to that, because it's kind of like a trick question, I'm guessing you're saying. But I'm smart enough to catch on to that straight away. Max has wrote, please, I want to learn about it, tell me. Was that the person I blocked? Stop yapping. Too late, you've been blocked. Don't come and try and insult me by saying stop yapping. This is what I do. This is how I do it. If it's not what you want to hear, sorry. That's just how I am. I'm not going to change my pattern for you. Sorry, it's just 40 years of me waffling on to people, my family that don't listen. This is how I do it. I mansplain. Metal Detector wrote, cheers for the answer, host. ISIS is one of those. Cheers. Not sure what I was referring to do with that, but obviously Isis was the sister of Osiris and Set in Egyptian. Jeannie's put a little drink and a hamburger. Oh, thank you. I'm guessing that's for me. That's very nice of you. Apoth has wrote, what are your qualifications that makes you an expert? Listening to me for 2 minutes. Honestly, there is no degree that will teach you what I've learned, because they are funded by you know who, the Rockefellers, blah blah blah, and they don't want. They'll sack you if you start talking about. Universities will sack you. People have been sacked when they start mentioning the word Anunnaki and aliens. So my qualifications are OTH. Just watch anything that I've done. Well, listen to me for 2 minutes. Debunk me if you can. Not saying I want you to debunk me, but show me evidence where my evidence is wrong. And I point to it. I tell you which tablets they are, etc. Max has wrote, unfortunately you're blocked, Max, now. What a shame. You shouldn't have said stop yapping. That obviously upset me. And I didn't want to do it, Ollie. So I'm not going to read out Max's. Sorry, Max. No, just I wouldn't do that to someone. I wouldn't go on someone's channel and say stop yapping. That's so disrespectful. No Fook has wrote, spirits are normal. We've been taught that it's not normal. It's who we are. I'm guessing who we are. I mean, I totally agree with you that spirits are normal. They've probably been here, as the Emerald Tablets of Thoth say, since the beginning of the universe. However, they're not ours, from my opinion, because if they're ours, then the one I've got that's reincarnated from the one before is not mine, because it's the one before. And if it's the one before, someone must have had one right at the beginning. Doesn't work like that. Watch my videos. I explain it all beautifully. Alien Carvings has joined. You got to go off the science, not the scientist. OMHO. I would totally agree with that. Benekos wrote, but that assumes the Bible is true as well, but it was written by men. So the Bible is a copy of older texts. We know that because a lot of the words in there are copied from other languages, so we know that. Plus we've got the tablet in the British Museum that tells Noah, yes we have, that tells Noah to build the ark. That's in the British Museum, and the curator does a video on it, on a lecture on YouTube, so go watch that. Now that starts with Enki, not God, not Lord, not Scooby-Doo or anyone else. It's Enki, which was one of the Anunnakis. So the Bible obviously copied that, but left out the Enki part and just put Jehovah or God, because don't forget their race name is God. So when you say the Bible's true, the Bible tried its very best to translate Babylonian, Akkadian, Assyrian, and Sumerian into its own language, and did not a bad job, but not great. So we've got the original tablets. So when you say the Bible, it assumes the Bible's true. The Bible copied the older tablets. So when you go to the older tablets, they're the ones that would be more correct. And we've got those tablets. We've got the Eridu Genesis, which tells us on the 7th day, the day of rest. Enki tells us. We've got those. They're in the Columbia University. We've got them. We've got everything we need to prove that the Bible talks about the Anunnaki as opposed to an almighty being. We've got it all. Troy's wrote billions and billions of galaxy. I can't remember what I was talking about for you to have mentioned that. Alien Carvings wrote part of it is based on truth, likely. Oh, thank you again, Mythic. You don't have to, Mythic. I do this because I do enjoy it. But that's very nice of you to show me your appreciation. The devil uses the truth and mixes in lies to gain deception. The problem with that is there technically was never a devil. A devil was made up. And so when you realise that the red devil with the horns was only a few hundred years ago that came into existence, you realise that the devil isn't exactly what it is. And of course, a demon, the original word for demon was a meteorite that comes into Earth's atmosphere. So when you realise that the word demon was hijacked and ended up being used for something evil, then you start realising, well, hang on a minute, all these people were worshipping demons and satans. So if demons are not really a real thing, it's just a name for something evil like Bill Gates, then you realise that, yes, Satan was, the original word was adversary, which was just an adversary of one of the Anunnaki gods. And then when you go back to the Young's literal translation of the Bible, you say, wow, so much has been changed. This whole, deception and devils and Satan and Lucifer. Lucifer was added in 1978 in the New International Version. Did they really know more? Why couldn't the original version, instead of putting adversary, why couldn't they have put Lucifer? Why did it take 1978 people to figure out the word Lucifer from thousands of years ago? So yeah, that's why I struggle with the word devil. Nothing. I'm not being rude or anything. I'm just saying that's how I see it. Shuri has wrote to history. I'm guessing that's history and coins. Beanakin has wrote, nope, movie has a living UFO. Yeah, I did see that film. I can't remember too much about whether or not the craft was living or not, but yeah, I kind of enjoyed it the second half more than the first half. Bennekins wrote, do you believe in evolution? I do indeed, because all you have to do is look at Hawaii. Hawaii was an island formed from a volcanic eruption, and on that island was all new species, not every single thing, but most of it was new species of plants, animals, etc. And so you've got to ask yourself, did God come back and say, do you know what, I'm going to make that look a little bit different from everywhere else? No. He's not playing Sims. So you realise that evolution's real. That's all you have to do. Shuri is of similar realities like that? Question mark. I don't know what that's referring to. Maybe you're still talking to D.L. Sicker has wrote, we proclaim Christ the pre-existence, incarnation, crucifixion, resurrection, exaltation. No problem at all. If that's what you believe. Could I just ask, why did the Almighty Being that could create the whole universe and Adam and Eve not just create an extra one for Jesus to have his back, or maybe have it in a different continent like Europe or America or somewhere? Thank you for the gift there, whoever that was. I just caught it at the split second. Sorry. When you realise you can't explain why we've got fused chromosomes done in a laboratory. And do you know what other creatures have got fused chromosomes? If you've been listening long enough, you realise that the goats and the sheep that the Anunnaki brought down also have fused chromosomes. So the creatures that Anunnaki talk about, including us, have fused chromosomes. Nothing else. How? Yeah, I'm the one that worked all that out, and with evidence. Go watch my videos. But wow. So when you say Jesus, etc., Christ. Have you seen my video on who Jesus' real father is? You probably ain't going to want to watch that one. It's going to knock you for six. So I tell you what, don't watch that video, because you're probably going to have nightmares, the fact that I give evidence on that video. If anyone else is interested in that video on who Jesus' real father is, with evidence, it's on my YouTube channel. Just go to howtruehistory. Or howtruehistory.co.uk. Alien Carver's wrote, bingo, Messi, you've got to open the book before you judge it. Shuri's wrote, that was supposed to say History and Coins. Yeah, I guessed that one. Crystal's given me a time check. Oh, bless you, thank you very much. 1:45. So, according to this, I'm only 2 minutes behind. Even though I'm in the UK, 7:48 here. Madeline, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. Wow, never thought there will be so many people. I'm hoping you mean so many people that's awake, or so many people listening to someone like me. Jeannie's wrote, try and debunk him. No one ever comes back. Jeannie's listened long enough now. This is thank you, Jeannie. It's true. They don't, do they? I stay on here for hours, sometimes 5-6 hours I've been on, and I say to people, Go watch my videos, go pick anything and come back and tell me where my evidence is wrong. Because obviously I point to tablets, I point to museum artifacts, and I point to all sorts of stuff and scientific evidence. No one ever comes back. And there we go. Someone just got blocked by History and Coins because obviously that was probably a religious person. Don't hate me, religious people. If you've got the evidence, which you haven't, just don't hate me for doing my homework, for spending 40 years of my life researching the stuff that you didn't bother. And I say you didn't bother because if you did, you'd be going, wow, you're right. Because the evidence is there. So unfortunately, it scrolled down to the bottom, and now I've scrolled all the way to the top, so I've missed a chunk. It's not me. I normally read every single thing out. When someone gets blocked, it scrolls to the bottom, so I apologise, but I am now nearer to your questions at the bottom. But I've missed a chunk, so I may be a bit rusty on some of the comments then. So Rusty has wrote, so many stories are all the same. I'm guessing you mean in ancient stories. They are, and I'm going to be going through. You're going to hear it here second. I did let my Patreon people know, but although I've done the Norse, I will be doing the Greeks, and although I've done Greek videos, I'll be doing the amount of research that I've done on the Norse. I'll be doing for the Greeks and the Indian gods and the Roman gods. So we will have a series of evidence-based connecting those gods 100%, no debunking it at all, with everything that you ever need to know. So if next time someone says to you, no, the Roman gods weren't the same as the Anunnaki, you go, here it is. Or you can just quote the evidence that I quote, that I show. So I'm going to be doing that because I think it's time someone actually stood up to the plate and said, let's sort this out once and for all. Like I did with who Jesus' real father is. Someone had to do that. Like I did with who Yahweh was. I didn't know really who Yahweh was until I did the amazing research with evidence. And of course, it's there with evidence now. With evidence. Izzy's wrote, hey, hi Izzy, nice of you to join. The Awakening of Humans wrote, take a look at the movie They Live. There you start, newbie. So that person's obviously trying to knock me down by saying that my research should come from They Live, the film with Rowdy Roddy Piper in it, because this person's watched that film and hasn't done any other research. Now, interesting, that person doesn't have a picture because you normally get trolls when they don't have pictures. So I'm just going to block that person, but telling me to watch the movie over the ancient tablets, etc. Crazy. Izzy's wrote, it was a Palladian that woke me up. I'm my sleep, or in your sleep, I guess you mean. I would like to know more on that, if you can. Rusty's right, I know a lot of our history, little girl. Rusty's right, I know a lot of our human history, little girl. I don't know what the little girl part is referring to. And then Kerry's wrote to Rusty, please be respectful. That was to me. Oh, right. So Rusty was talking to history. Izzy's wrote, I knew nothing about aliens or spiritual awakenings until that interaction. Interesting. Yeah, no, I would like to know more on that. Message wrote, this is live. Oh, bless you again. OurTrueHistory.co.uk reads every single question in order. Please ask a full question. Thank you, Messi. Because I forget to say that, don't I, sometimes. Scrolling down, time check 7:30, so I've caught up a little bit because of that blocking. Ged has wrote, have you ever seen an orange flying orbs in the sky? I have not, but I have heard of them. Be interested to know what size and how high up. Serious question, because I worked out that the small orbs, tennis balls smaller, are the ones in the houses. The football sized ones are the ones outside that hover along, fields and trees and stuff. No one else has pieced that together. It's quite common sense if you think about it. But so I'll be interested to know what size yours was. The ones way up in the sky seem to be car size or bigger. So I'd be interested to know where and what size. The Awakening of Humans wrote, do you know about the Black Goo, the spirit knowledge story behind the story? I have not looked into the Black Goo. I'm so sorry. It's not come onto my radar properly to dig deep into it, so I can't give you my opinion on it. And this is the difference between me and other researchers. They will make up crap. I'll tell you honestly, I don't know at this point. Greg has wrote, is it possible that religion was created by someone just got blocked again. Sorry. If you don't like what I'm saying, just move along. You're not going to be able to debunk me. It's nothing personal. Just move along if you don't like what I'm saying. Sorry. Rebecca's wrote, hope you have a great live and continue to talk about interesting things. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Oh, I missed that one earlier. That's weird. Gregor's wrote, is it possible that the religion was created by aliens to deceive us? Under normal circumstances, I would say no. However, I'm going to caveat that. So, my research would lead me to the conclusion that, no, the Anunnaki never had any religion. They just, they created us, they made us, worship them individually, but it wasn't a religion. It was just, imagine me being egotistical and creating a little species. I would probably get them worshipping me. It doesn't mean I want a religion or anything, but and people say, oh, well, if you worship something, therefore it's a religion. No, you can be forced to worship something. Does that make it a religion? Superman was forced to worship, or tried to worship Zod. Is that a religion? Worshipping Zod? So anyway, however, I would say that the Vatican was built by one of the Anunnaki later on, and obviously adopted the religion, in my opinion, so that they could then still try and control as much of the people as they could, but obviously failed. 100%. They didn't quite get. Scrolling down, this is live. Rebecca's wrote definition. Not sure what that's referring to. Canucks wrote, who built the Bora Bora temple and when? Appears to be complete mystery. I'll be honest, I can't recognise the name. I've probably heard it, I've probably looked into it, but off the top of my head I can't remember where that one is. Sorry. I'd need to look into it. The awakening of humans were extraterrestrial equals extra territory on Earth. So I'm guessing the awakening of humans seems to believe that there is extra territory on Earth, such as Antarctica, which is what Admiral Byrd says. However, silly people have assumed that Admiral Byrd meant that there was extra Earth outside of a dome. Somehow they've added that and that together. How silly. Watch my video on Flat Earth, or not Flat Earth, on my pinned videos and you'll see. Jessica's wrote, finished my painting of Enki last night to go with Inanna. Oh, wow, I would love to see them if you wouldn't mind somehow showing me, if you don't mind. Myers wrote, I love to listen here because I have seen Alien, Astral, NDE, Deja Vu, Angel, and etc. Lots. Interesting. The Awakenings wrote, we check it every morning when the sun goes up. Jesus is the sun. See, this is where I get sad by people that make up stuff. So Jesus' brothers stole human women. You know that because it says it in the Bible. Now, if I ask you about that, you'll change the subject and you'll say, no, they're not his brothers. It says it in the Bible. I'll sort you out in 2 minutes, Clark. I'm almost finished. Let me just finish this. Thank you, Amy. 2 minutes, Clark. 2 minutes. Sorry, my boy's just come in. I've only got... the longer I'm spending this, the longer I spend on here. So, yeah, unfortunately, you've sort of now made Jesus the son. And, why can't I be Superman? Why can't I be a god? If you've just made Jesus the son, why can't I make up stuff? You see what I mean? You have made that up. There's obviously no reason for that whatsoever. Sorry, someone else was ringing me. Scrolling on. Sorry if there's noise in the background, someone's making tea. What does a degree have to do with anything? So that was when someone asked me what my qualifications are to be an expert. And obviously you don't have to have a degree, because the first people, yeah, I've gone through all that before. History's right, I've got degrees, and our history is correct. I've checked his research. Thank you very much, our history. Trinology wrote, did we inherit albinism from the Anunnaki? Oh, do you save these questions up to go at number one? You do, don't you? I know you do. It's a really good question. I don't know whether 2 or 1. Go number 1. Brilliant question. Did we inherit albinism from the Anunnaki? So, the Anunnaki's skin was pale. It makes sense because they're further away from the sun. Black people seem to have less issues than white people with the sun. So it kind of makes sense. They describe themselves as no colour. Now, I know some people say, well, black's no colour or white's no colour. But you've got to remember, it's an alien race describing it, not us.
There is a text message.
Sorry.
There is a
and they also describe themselves as blue eyes like the sky. And there's some texts that actually describe blue like the sky. So, Trinology's asking, did albinoism come from the Anunnaki? Now, we all have seen the images of God with, Michelangelo's picture with his white beard, white hair. In fact, the Roman gods, white beard, white hair. In fact, the Greek gods, white beard, white hair. You can probably guess the Anunnaki had white beards, white hair. So I would probably say, yes, somehow that comes from them. So it's a brilliant question. It makes sense because obviously the first Homo sapiens here were dark-skinned over in South Africa. We can kind of guess that as well from the colour of skin from South Africa. So for them to suddenly have albino children would be, hard to say that would happen. Now, I know there's children with black-skinned people with blue eyes, and they say, aha, look, this is nothing to do with Anunnaki, etc. It's actually everything to do with the Anunnaki, because the Anunnaki bred with dark-skinned people to have the possible black skin, possible olive, and possible white skin. Obviously, white's here, so we can sort of rule in white and olive. Now, we don't know whether or not their own offspring also were black from breeding with the black Homo sapiens. My guess is probably yes. Over the thousands and thousands of years they bred with us, I'm sure some of them came out black and probably had blue eyes even back then. So yeah, I would say yes. So that's very, very good question. Baz wrote, thank you for a very interesting channel. Have started watching your videos. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy them. Chenologies wrote, the Anunnaki had violet eyes, right? They in one text or two texts they described the eyes as their offspring eyes as blue like the sky. So I would probably say they were blue. I mean, Michelangelo's painted them blue and stuff like that, so I'd probably go with. Obviously, Michelangelo wasn't around at that point, but I would probably go with the blue. Polly's wrote, spirits stroke the borrowers, laugh out loud. Not sure what the borrowers got to do with spirits. As far as I was aware, the borrowers were tiny little people. Tin Tan has wrote Enki Do, laugh out loud. I'm guessing that's made you laugh. Polly's wrote, thanking you for tonight's topics. Oh, no, thank you. If you didn't give me the questions, I wouldn't be able to answer them. The Awakening of Humans wrote, Jesus stand for the sun rising up for 12 months, normal 13 months. Funny enough, just stopping you there, Awakening, you do realise that the tablets prior to the Bible, that the Bible copied from, and if you want evidence of that, you ain't going to watch it, let's be honest. But the Anunnaki actually gave us 13 months and then changed it to 12. So if you want to see all the evidence of that, watch my videos. You won't want to because it keeps popping up with the Anunnaki creating us, and that's going to really mess with your head because it seems like you're very fixed on your religion, whatever that may be. So you're not going to. It's not worth you talking to me because you're going to hate finding out the real truth with evidence, because you have no evidence, obviously. But we've got the evidence that the Anunnaki had 13 months. In fact, they're the ones that built Stonehenge. Watch my amazing documentary on my Patreon page about Stonehenge. You sort of blow your mind with evidence, as always. Nigel's wrote, the Sumerian flood story and the Bible story share common origin. The flood story is everywhere. It is indeed. And I can point to many tablets, translations of the original Sumerian tablets, where they talk about the Anunnaki looking down from above at the flood happening, and they're all crying and whatnot. Bazos wrote, thanks, Messi. Trinologies wrote, Blue Moon Sigma said Africans have mostly the RH negative gene. If that's true, that makes a lot of sense, obviously, because when they bred with the Homo sapiens, they were still mining over in Africa. So they would have took some of those people back, I'm sure, because the, forgive me for saying this is their words, not mine, the offspring of the Anunnaki and humans were more intelligent. That's just because they had, obviously, the Anunnaki's DNA in them properly. So, yeah, and I mean, the Basque people obviously have... History's wrote, that's correct, she did say that. So, yeah, and like I say, they would have took those smarter people back over to help mine, instead of keep the people that was there before going, ugh, 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 which they said they do. Would you not take smarter people? I would. So if that's the case, then they may have took the darker skinned people back and left the white skinned people. I'm just throwing ideas out there. In Mesopotamia, because obviously they're white, and maybe they had this idea that separate the white from the black. I don't know. I'm just throwing these ideas out there because obviously we know that most people in South Africa would have been dark skinned. So. Mythics wrote, you're amazing, so grateful to meet you. Oh, bless you. No, thank you very much for all your gifts. You didn't have to. I do this really because I enjoy it. Trinologies wrote, I was looking up which eye colour is the rarest, and violet and red were. Wow, red. I didn't know there was even red out there. Kay Wood has wrote, Lucifer, Mia Light Ringer. Not sure what you're referring to there, but you do know Lucifer was added to the Bible. It was just literally, it was an adversary. Same as the serpent in the Garden of Eden was an adversary of the gods, depending which particular god you're referring to at the time. The awakening of humans' evolution is alive by the Masons for sure. Did I not just say to you earlier about Hawaii having new species on it? So you're telling me that God came back and decided to create new life on Hawaii? Is that your answer? Is that your final answer? Do you want to call a friend? So you're saying evolution is a lie. The only problem we've got is a missing link. You do realise that everyone would say evolution is real if it wasn't for a missing link. And do you know why we've got a missing link? Because the Anunnaki modified Neanderthal to create a new species, which is the Homo sapiens. Why is it so difficult for people to understand? It's not a trick thing. It's very easy. Kay Wood has wrote, it's the planet Venus, came up before the sin. So Kay Wood's the same person that was talking about Lucifer, and is now saying it's the planet Venus. I'm not quite sure what you mean by the planet Venus. I've actually done some serious study into the planet Venus, but you'll all find out soon. Twinkle Toe has wrote, God is great. Which particular one are you referring to? The Anunnaki, Enki, or Enlil, or Marduk, or Ninurta? I'm not sure which one you're going with here. But anyway, let's carry on reading. Twinkle Toe has wrote, God is great. There isn't the same iris or fingerprint. So you're saying because we don't have the same fingerprint, therefore it was an almighty being that gave us that ability to have a different fingerprint so that it helps police identify us. Is that where we're going with that? Is that your answer? Do you want to phone a friend? I mean, seriously, is that... I'm sorry, I'm just shocked. I'm shocked. Wow. So every snowflake is different, therefore it's God. Is it? And they're going, do you know what, this one... Oh, for crying out loud, I've just done 2 snowflakes the same. I knew it. I knew it. Everybody, stop. Little elves, stop. We have to get those two snowflakes back because they're two the same. Oh, sorry. That was a funny comment you made. Scottish, I love your content. I've been telling my friends to watch your video. Oh, thank you, Scottish. If you don't mind me reading out your name, I normally read them all out full. Scottish Lesbians. I love your content. I've been telling my friend. Lovely. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. That's great. That's lovely. Scrolling down. The Awakenings wrote, which book? The Forbidden Ones? I'm guessing you're asking now, you're starting to come round to the idea that, hey, maybe the ancient tablets are, older than the Bible and the Bible copied them. So I'm just going to help you out. The one where it tells Noah is in the British Museum. The tablet that tells Noah, you can just type in on Google, Ivan Finkel Noah Ark, and it's Enki that tells Noah, which is what's obviously in the Bible later on. So the Bible copied the older texts. One of them's got to be right, either the older one or the newer one. No, I don't know which one you'd go with. I know which one I'll go with. Thank you, Rosie. Bless you. So start with that. When you realise that Enki tells Noah, I can then point to the rest of the flood story where the Anunnakis come down, open up the hatch on... thank you, Try Jesus. Bless you. I can show you where the tablets are that tell... where they have to drill a hole through the ark, the roof, to see, whether it's daytime or nighttime, because they basically sealed it completely over. And then I can show you the tablets where one of the Anunnaki stands on the roof. It was a big boat. It was round, by the way. Not like a ball, but more like a donut without a hole. And that's in the tablets in the British Museum. It tells you the shape of it. So next time some numpty says, oh, look at this, we found the ark, and it's like a longboat, just laugh at them. Just say, no, our true history is much smarter than you. He knows where the evidence is. Anyway, sorry. Scrolling down, Martin's wrote, brother, it's not very often you're wrong. Thank you very much. Yeah, so far, touch wood, I think there was only... I've caught myself out a couple of times, I'll be honest. And then there was only one other person, I think it was Junex, that pointed out I had a word wrong. I thought the word meant something different. It was pretty good going, so thank you. Twinkle Toes wrote, 8 billion people on this globe with their very own iris and fingerprint. Think about it. So... if I made a clay out of my own hands, if I made a clay model of a human, do you think it would be exactly the same as your clay model of a human? Exactly, down to the very, very smallest detail, microns. Think about that for a second. No, it wouldn't. Why is that? Because nature finds a way. Doesn't mean it's God. Really what you're saying is because the world's amazing and it's perfect, because I've spoken to Jehovah's Witnesses and they've said, oh, it's perfect, look, it's perfect. How the plants supply the oxygen and all this kind of stuff. God must have done it. Bearing in mind we've got the tablets on how Earth was created and how humans were created. Anyway, so if you're going to go with that it's perfect, roll back to the singularity when it's smashed. Everything suddenly, splewed out from somewhere, and roll forward. We're going to end up, our universe or our solar system is going to bash into another one. So is that divine or is that just over time? It's like a pool table. You bash the balls at the beginning, they're smashing into each other and they're going down pockets. Eventually they settle down. So was that God? Did God make the pool balls all settle down to a nice position? They're not bashing into each other anymore? No. Think about that. Ged Welsh has wrote, any thoughts on the flying glowing orange balls in the sky? I've seen 5 at one time. I'm guessing they were up high and I'm guessing they would be car-sized or bigger as opposed to very small ones. I don't. If you are, so I know what the as far as my research is. I believe I know what the Small orbs are. I believe I know what the larger orbs are, the ones that create crop circles. But the ones in the sky, I don't know whether they're sentient, whether they're drones, whether they're a craft. I don't know. Unfortunately, not one person has ever that I've heard explained what they are. So I don't know what they are. Kay Woods wrote, it's more benefit to mute rather than block. So the problem is we've done that before, and then those people go away and tell TikTok that I'm not, showing my face and da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. And they think it's, they'll tell them it's a recording and whatnot. And then when I finish doing my live 2 hours later, I find loads of messages from the same person on loads of posts saying, you're wrong, da-da-da, 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 and then I end up blocking them anyway. So it's easier just to get rid of them there and then than it is to have stupidity later on. So the Awakening has wrote, so you know of the families named Bok from Finland. It's like the old saying, isn't it? What was it? Prince Philip once said. So I don't know if you guys who know Prince Philip, the husband of the Queen. He was a bit of a character, and he met an Indian person, and he said, he was shaking their hand. He said, what's your name? And they said something Patel. He goes, I've got. They're from India. This person, royalty or something like that. And he goes, Patel. He says, we've got a cleaner here called Patel. Do you know them? Yeah, moving on. It's funny because when you realise how many Patels there are in the world, it's funny. Scrolling down. Rusty wrote, history predates even the Anunnaki. When you say history, what do you mean by history? Obviously, the planet's been going before the Anunnaki got here. So are you saying that there is tablets that predate the Anunnaki? Be careful what you say because you're talking to someone that's an expert. So I don't mean to sound rude. So if you say yes, I will ask for the evidence of that and you won't be able to get it. So... yeah, so I'm just helping you out there. Jeannie's wrote, empath is a gift and a curse. I guess it would be. I'm guessing you might be. Is that? I don't know. Trinologies wrote, didn't giants have 6 fingers? We can't say that every single giant had 6 fingers, but the ones that we've been told about had 6 fingers, and if they find the skull, 2 rows of teeth, yes. Majority of them seem to have red hair. Room 4 for you has wrote, who or what is the true creator? So I'm glad you didn't say God. So the Anunnaki race name's God. That's proven. Go watch my videos. I show evidence of that. If you want to find the actual video, go to my website, afterhistory.co.uk. Scroll down on the homepage to where it says click here. Then you'll find that's them. It's a 3-hour documentary. It's 34 minutes on my website, but that's enough. Unless you want to watch the rest of it, it's on my Patreon page along with over 100 other long documentaries, still with other things. So the Anunnaki did mention the creator of everything. Now that's not to say they're telling the truth, and not telling the truth. That's not to say they're not making mistakes, because look at us. We've got people on here saying that there's an almighty being because they've made a mistake, because they've read a book that's a copy of older texts that the Anunnaki's in. So imagine if we all believed, if there was not one person that bothered reading the older texts, and we all believed that there was an almighty being that came here, even though it was the Anunnaki, we'd be mistaken. And so is it not possible that the Anunnaki, when they're talking about the creator of everything, assumed that in order for the universe to be created, they could have just assumed that there was a creator? So I'm just saying we don't really know exactly what they're referring to when they talk about a creator of everything. Thank you, Charles Weaver. So even with the tablets they refer to, they don't tell us any more than the name other than the creator of everything. But again, like I say, there's people here to this day that think there's a creator of everything that was here that created Adam and Eve, when we've got evidence that it was the Anunnaki and Adam and Eve was Adipper and Titi. That was the. Watch my videos. I show all the evidence. Dimitris says, "Wrote, can you get an interview with Ivan Finkel about the Sumerian magic tablets?" If you watched the video where someone asked him about the Sumerian tablets, he didn't deny the Anunnaki. Did not deny it at all. And of course, in the tablet where he's talking about Enki telling Noah, or Zazudra as his first name was, to build the ark, Ivan Finkel was more than happy to say that as a real deity at the time. So he will not want to chat to someone like me. He really wouldn't. You got to remember the British Museum's partly funded by the Rockefellers, and you can go look at that up, or watch my videos where I show that it's partly funded by the Rockefellers. So when you realise the Rockefellers don't want us to know. Rusty One has wrote, yes, I'm not sure what I was talking about there. Rusty wrote, I have, I'm not sure what that was. I am slightly behind, guys, sorry. Messi wrote, please write full questions. Bless you, Messi. Scrolling down, people chatting to each other. Ged Welsh has wrote, car size, it was way up in the sky. Flew, done, danced around us both. But the size didn't change. So thank you for telling me. Yes, I was right, aren't I, about sizes? That's how good I am. So yeah, it would have been car size, exactly what I said, if it was outside up in the sky. So that's why you should all follow me instead of listening to any other researcher. Trust me, when you watch my videos and you see I debunk the other researchers, it's probably best just go with me. So yeah, unfortunately I don't know what the car size ones are. I'm pretty good at researching and stuff, but I've never come across anything, so I can't. No, that's one of my bugbears. I don't know whether it's an entity, whether it's I don't know what it is. For all we know, do you remember the film Explorers? You probably don't. Long time ago in the 80s, these kids made. Go watch it. It's a fun film. They made this orb that can fly. It was like a computer thing that they did, and they got inside it and went around and had an adventure. So for all I know, it could be that. Jasmine has wrote, yeah, saw blue sphere. Blue is very beautiful like water. I did caught it in my hands until it vanished. Wow, okay, that's interesting. Twinkle Toes wrote, we all individuals with some knowledge of human form, but we are a creation known to a higher form. I mean, if I said to you that there's tablets that tell us what about the asteroid belt, let's just use the asteroid belt. A tablet that predates the Bible that explains the asteroid belt and how it even got there, and no one back then had telescopes and could even see the asteroid belt. What would you say? Would you say that's real, or it's a damn good guess? And then if I started adding other things on that, like that they named the planets, would you say it's a coincidence or a damn good guess, or they're telling the truth? Because eventually it gets to the point where so much of this evidence, you start to say, okay, it was the Anunnaki for sure regarding us being created. Maya's wrote, I saw it corner of hall in my home. That was, I'm guessing, the blue orb thing that you saw. That's interesting. See, like I was saying about the small ones, they're in your home. I am that good. Trinology's wrote, interesting. I think that was probably me replying to your question. Polly's wrote, confused how? I'm not sure what I was talking about. I'm slightly behind, sorry. Shuri has wrote, it skipped, but I wanted to see where I said RH negative with central heterochromia linked. Talk to Blue Moon Sigma about that. There's a person on here that knows all about blood. I'm not that good on that. So Blue Moon Sigma. If you're interested in RH negative, guys, and find out what different phenomenon RH negative does to you, including possibly ESP, etc. I did a live chat with Blue Moon Sigma, and it's on my website, on my podcast page. So just go to podcast. And you don't even have to have Spotify or anything. You can if you want to go there. I've got all the buttons. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can actually listen to the podcast live on my website without needing Spotify or Apple, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And so look for the one with the RH negative guest. If anyone's interested in finding out a lot more, trust me, most of it went over my head. She's that good. So honestly, you'd probably need to listen to it twice to catch everything that she says. Polly's wrote, confused how slugs get into my house like cat burglars. Seriously. Trinologies wrote, yeah. Pels wrote, is the Anunnaki like the Matrix? And so the Anunnaki are just a race like us. In fact, we look like them because we're in their image. So they're nothing to do with a Matrix. They're on a planet that's in our solar system called Planet X or Nibiru. Sam has wrote, thank you, you're more than welcome. Kerry's wrote, Clark Darling. The other Carrie has wrote, not Kerry, Carrie has wrote, hi Carrie, nice to meet you, join. Message wrote, Clark, we love you, darling. My daughters shooed him out. Jeannie's wrote, a cake and a milk for Clark. Crystals wrote, the time check was actually an hour behind. By the time you read it, it was 1:45. It was 2:48 my time. Ah, right, okay, sorry. Canucks wrote, why do you think the Chinese government will not allow the overgrown pyramids to be excavated? I think you know why. There's probably stuff in there. The Bosnia pyramid has actually got some fast. I need to do a video on that. The Bosnian pyramid it actually has tores in it, and there's stones in there with quartz in over certain holes and stuff. It's absolutely mind blowing. I need to do a video on that. So if the Chinese pyramid's got anything, yes, there is a Chinese pyramid, everybody. It's covered over. You can see it in photographs. Only the peasants that are, sadly, that's what the description is in the that people say. But only the peasants around there are allowed to even go near it. So if it's got anything like the Bosnian pyramids, then you're going to be, we'll have probably things in there that we shouldn't know about. Pels wrote, are we still referee? I'm not sure what that means. Messi's wrote, where's the time check, Jane? Oh, bless you. Pels wrote, are we still referred to as primitive workers? It's a really good question. Go number 3 in the class for that. So in the ancient text, they called us a few different names. Men, Adamu, depending on how far back you go, and primitive workers. And so I think the primitive workers, I can't be 100%, but I would imagine that would have stopped certainly after the flood, when they started teaching us stuff over in Sumer. Dr. Nichols wrote, so basically some aliens came to Earth and messed with DNA of animals to make slaves. No, unfortunately you probably missed what I was saying there. So there's a race on a planet in our solar system. It came from outside our solar system. We know all this because we've got the tablets. So either someone knew what solar systems was way back in the first ever writing, or it's the Anunnaki telling us what's happened in our past. So their planet came, bashed into their. Long story short, they broke up Tiamat, which was another planet, which ended up forming Earth. Roll on 4 point something billion years later, their atmosphere in our solar, they're still in our solar system. They go between Jupiter and Mars. Their planet does, and then back out to the edge of our solar system. Their planet's atmosphere started dwindling. They came here because, long story, I'm paraphrasing very quickly, but they came here to mine for gold because Tiamat, the planet that got broken up, had gold in it. And they know it had gold because the asteroid belt has got gold in the asteroids. So they came here to mine for gold, and the Ajiji, the young sons of the Anunnaki, struggled with the workload for 150,000 of our years, but they sleep for 7 days and 7 nights, give or take, in which case it was only about 6 months of their struggling to work in these mines. And long story, Enki said, "Oh, I've got an idea. There's a species, creature here already on Earth. We can make another creature a bit smarter that can do the work for us." And so they agreed to do that. The tablets are in the Oxford University website, or just type in Enki and Nimna, and you'll see the translations of the tablets where they created us. So they genetically created us, and we've got fused chromosomes, number 23 and number 24. That's that. So in the tablets, they bring down... I've done videos on all the animals that they say they bring down. The two that, off the top of my head, was goats and sheep. They also bring down a horse-type creature. Long story, but that came from Mars. I won't bore you. Watch my videos. But anyway, so the creatures that, if you type in, or search which ones has Rh negative, it's the same ones. And I did do a video on my TikTok showing the ancient texts and showing the fact that they do have fused chromosomes. So in other words, they probably modified those species on their home planet, or they modified them here. Either way, they've got fused chromosomes. So hopefully that clears that up. Christians wrote, "Can I come up and help you out? Do I need help? Am I that bad? 40 years of research debunked everyone else. Do I really need help? Not sure I do. However, I do let people up that's the higher tier on my Patreon page, which is only a couple of pounds anyway. So if you was a Patreon user, I would let you up. Sorry. In fact, Kerry's wrote the same thing. Thank you. Bless you, Kerry. Jessica's wrote, "Not sure how to show you the pictures. I think I will have to add them to my profile." I would love to see them. Even if I think you could probably add them private or friends only, and then just let me know. And if you then delete them, maybe I'd love to see them. Really would. Pamela's wrote, "I listen often. I'm on my journey to learning who I am." Thank you. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Pam. That's very nice of you to say. Omiik has wrote, "Me, not religious, loves God." I'm not sure which one you're referring to. If I was to say any, bearing in mind I'm the guy that done the family tree, the amazing family tree, the best family tree ever, of the Anunnaki and Norse Gods and whatever else. It's on my Patreon page if anyone wants to see the world's best family tree, and I've debunked the other one, and I've showed that. So anyway, so if I was going to say which particular god I would love out of all of them. It's an interesting one. Let me think for a second. Probably Nana, which I always, whenever I read that word Nana, I always think it's a female. It's just one of those names. Nana seems good. Nana didn't have any issues that I can recall. Pale Nine wrote, "Enlil did that, the flood." Well, interesting. I was meant to do a bloody video. That reminds me. So do you know why? I'm going to let everyone know here the stuff that people haven't worked out. I'm going to let you know why the flood happened. Fate. So the Anunnaki had this whole thing about destiny and fate, and when Enki changed the destiny of Earth by creating humans, Enlil and Enki later on had this big argument because Enki changed the fate of Earth and created people, which he shouldn't have done. So it was by design as opposed to fate, or by destiny. And when they found out that the Nibiru was coming back round and it was going to cause a problem and break off an ice shelf in Antarctica to cause a tsunami, King Anu decided that the fate of Earth would have been that, regardless of whether humans were here or not. So think about that for a second, because everyone says Enlil deliberately done it. It was their way of resetting because of fate. In other words, their planet was going to come round regardless of whether humans were created or not, or Homo sapiens were created. So they allowed fate to play its role. And when Enki tells Noah, because that was one of his offspring, to build an ark, that broke that fate again. And that's, well, after that, when they believe Anzu, was the emissary, the creator of everything that came down. I don't know if you guys, how much you know, but they had the king and the two sons, Enlil and Enki, had another discussion, and they said maybe it was meant to be that we found out about the flood, and that because the emissary is the one that gave Enki the dimensions and the size of the ship to build to save Noah. So then they said, well, hang on a minute, you're going to love this next bit, everybody. They then said, well, if the emissary gave Enki these tablets to tell Noah, or Zazudra as his name was, to build the ark, then the creator of everything wants humans to have the earth. And that is when they said, we will let humans inherit the earth. Bang. Thank you for the hearts. So it wasn't a malicious thing. It was back down to the fate. And you've heard it here first. Which makes 100% sense. Thank you, Messi. It does, doesn't it? It makes so much sense. As opposed to, let's wipe out every single animal because we don't like humans. That didn't make sense to me. But it came to me the other day, and I thought, oh, of course, I've read everything that says that. Why didn't I just piece it together? I was stupid. The world's best researcher, I call myself, and then couldn't even piece that together. But I've done it now, so we're all good. We're back to the world's best researcher. Blankers wrote they spliced DNA. They did indeed. Blankers wrote, no, you wouldn't, because the dark are revolted more than the white. I'm not sure what that's referring to. No, you wouldn't, because the dark are revolted more than white. I'm not sure whether that was to do with slaves or not. I'm not sure what that's to do with. User 17s, maybe the whites are black albino bred and separated. I mean, it's possible. Obviously we don't know for sure, but thank you, Room for Four. Oh, bless you, thank you. Polly's wrote, red eyes aren't really possible. It's an illusion. That's probably why I've not seen any, but I'll take your word for that. I've not seen that. Dr. Nichols Curtis has wrote, dude, you are like 20 minutes behind. By the time you get to their question, already left. I know. What would you have me do? Ignore questions, because when I have done that, right at the beginning when I first started doing these lives, people goes, he doesn't know, he doesn't answer my question, he skipped my question. That's what they say. And so, if I skipped certain questions, sometimes people carry on their question a bit further on, like the people that was talking about, being woken up by Palladians, by the people about the orbs. They way later they carry on their story. If I skipped bits of that, I wouldn't know, and then I would be going, what's that on about? If I particularly read that. So the only way it works for me, I know it's time consuming, I know it is. These lives are also put on my website and on YouTube, so if you want to listen to any of the old lives, you can at your leisure. So I agree, dude, but it's the best way of doing it for everyone. I trust me, I've been doing this for hours tonight. 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that so far. And I wanted to watch the latest episode of Resident Alien. I'm probably not going to be able to do that now because I'm doing this for you guys. Thank you for the hearts. My Jasmine has wrote History and Coins. I saw it like that was talking to History and Coins. Scrolling down. This is live. I read every single question out. If you take time to write it, I will take time to read it. Scrolling down, people chatting to each other still. Sorry, it's lots of ats, so I don't read out what people talk to each other about. Mystics wrote, is CERN helping or harming? So it's the same as chemtrails. When they don't tell you what they're doing, the chances are it's not good for us. So I'll leave it at that. Polly's wrote, them Jehovah Witnesses know all remember. Yeah, they knew nothing. They bless them. It was like a rabbit in headlights when I started explaining to them with evidence. And they had to try and get away from me. It was like, no, come back. Let the Lord save you, me. But they didn't understand any of what I was talking about. It was just straight over their head. Twinkle Toes, I don't know. Over time, I'm not sure what that was referring to. User 171 has wrote, Funnel says the Ark really never existed in the article you advised to Google. So you're on about Ivan Finkel. So Ivan Finkel, let's just go back to Ivan Finkel, works for the British Museum. And if you look into who funds the British Museum, you'll come across the Rockefellers. And if you come across the Rockefellers, you'll say, well, what else do they fund? Smithsonian, what else do they fund? The Israel Museum, they even tried to buy the Cairo Museum, and so on and so on. They even fund institutions and universities. When you realise that, then you say, well, okay, but doesn't mean, the British Museum's lying. Yeah, it does. So I've done a documentary on the crystal skulls on my Patreon page. Brilliant documentary. If anyone's interested in proper evidence on the crystal skulls, no, it's baloney crap that we get told. Do you realise then that there's only one person, Fran, that actually had the skulls verified, that they allow one more person. Guess who Fran works for, by the way? Smithsonian. So she said they were fake, and she said that they were... Bearing in mind, Mitchell Hedges didn't even sell his skull. So they're saying it was a scam. Where's the scam in having a... And we know they went to... we've got photographs of them over in on one of those temples that they excavated. So... History Scholars wrote, as soon as you mention them, your numbers drop. I'm guessing you mean the Rockefellers, probably. So yeah, user 17. All I ask you to do is do some proper research, not what the establishments want you to believe. That's why my Crystal Skulls documentary, where trust me, the documentary is a work of art, along with all the other documentaries I do on my Patreon page. A couple of £1, and you get to find out about Stonehenge. You get to find out about Crystal Skulls. I can't say it anymore. Rosie's wrote, what are your thoughts on Wuma, spacecraft or lump of rock acting strange? Spacecraft, yeah. There's stories out there of whistleblowers that went on to Coast to Coast AM and were saying that they knew of a team that went up to Wuma, broke in through the one door. There's only one door in there. It's a rock, but aliens carve out rocks, so it makes sense as a... Anyway, long story short, I do believe it's a craft. Message, I want to hear him say this. I'm guessing that's to the question above. I'm only being quick because obviously time's ticking away towards 9 o'clock, and I normally shoot off around 9. Blank has wrote Mud Flood Theory. So I've asked for evidence of, because I go by evidence. Everything you watch of mine is evidence based, unless I don't have evidence, in which case I say I believe from an educated. When I say educated, 40 years of amazing research. So the mud flood, there is no evidence whatsoever that I've come across that shows them in an advanced race. There was a Tatarian Empire in Mongolia 500 years ago. Mud when wet with an incline. Will roll down. That's pretty much it. Scrolling down, Janie's wrote to the mods. You mods are amazing. They are. I don't give them enough credit. I really don't. They're brilliant. I don't realise how good they are until they're not here, which means they're that good that I don't even notice them. Blankers wrote, or is it like the movie Alien and we are all just cattle? No, the Anunnaki didn't do that. Didn't make us as cattle or anything like that. Message wrote, this is liveourtruehistory.co.uk, reads every question in order. Please ask the full question. Bless you. Thank you so much for that. Room 4 for you wrote, thank you. What is your website again, please? I don't know if you can see it in the background there. Hopefully you can. It's ourtruehistory.co.uk. You can get to everything. You can get to YouTube from there. You can type in anything you want. You can type in crop circles. You can type in black-eyed children. You can type in Christ knows what. The list just is. Go and look. You'll see. I cover a lot. Thank you, thank you, History and Coins, for pinning up the website there. Blanca's wrote, Mr. Burns died the other day. Yes, I saw that. Yeah, Smithers. Yeah. Thank you. Messi's wrote, side note, be responsible procreating. I'll remember that. Polly's wrote, how close to actual reality do you think the movie The Matrix could be? I can't. I'm not of the simulation camp, unfortunately. You got to remember the simulation's been running for 4.5 billion years at least. That's when Earth was formed. So it's probably going to be running for another few billion years at least, if it is a simulation. So there's absolutely nothing we can do. So even if we are in a simulation, that's pretty much it. I wouldn't, from my point of view, there's nothing you can do about that. Blanca's wrote, I would say witch. Solar's wrote, everyone mentions Anunnaki, it doesn't question the fact that there's 4 syllables in it. I'm asking why you would, what's the significance there that you feel you have? You do also know that some translations come out as Nibru, without the extra I, so I just thought I'd throw that one out there. Blankers wrote, if there be minds like dolphins, monkeys, and they're obviously something higher than human brain. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're not the be all and end all. I mean, there's only one real genius on this planet that I can ever say was a real genius, and no, I'm not talking about myself yet. That would be Da Vinci. But he did have a missing diary for 2 years, come back, knew a lot about stuff that he shouldn't really have known. Was he, taken somewhere, etc.? I don't know. Nikki Lee has wrote, hi everyone. Hi Nikki Lee. Blank has wrote, is this fella on Twitch or something? No, I'm reading out every single question, but I am behind. Because if you take the time to write, I take the time to read it. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 hours. Because you took the time to write, I will continue reading them out. So I apologise I'm behind, but I give full answers, unlike other researchers that skip questions. However, if you're asking if I'm on Twitch as a way of, thingy, History and Coins has wrote, no, I have a website, YouTube and a Patreon. Well done, History, brilliant. I couldn't have said it better than myself, thank you. Frenetic has wrote, where did the Street Fighters come from? Are you on about the Street Fighter computer game? Are you on about people just having fights in the street? Because obviously, since there was probably the very first, well, even monkeys fight each other and kill each other. They're quite vicious. So, I would say fighting's been going on for a long time. Avatar has wrote, planets banging. Very good. Message wrote, Patreon is worth it. I cannot wait for the Norse Anunnaki links video. Oh, bless you, Messi. Thank you very much. It is a good one, actually. I'm very proud of it. So, yeah. Blank, I was going to judge with this story, but he's spot on. Ah, thank you, Blank. I'm guessing you've done your research as well. Canucks wrote, LiDAR radar shows the South American continent has a lot more history than we've been told. It does. More and more is being shown and found underneath the canopies of the trees and underneath the ground. So, yeah, it's fascinating. Frenetic has wrote, is that like planet Namek? I don't know what planet Namek is. I've not heard of that before. Sorry. Blankers wrote, Indigo Oot. Not sure what that's referring to. Polly's wrote, Earth must be the biggest banger. Most on it are like nymphs. Phonetics wrote, Planets of Nymphomaniacs was a virtual reality hallucination in Red Dwarfs. We found a smeghead here, everybody. Yeah, good old Red Dwarf. Yeah. The Floral Goddess has wrote, been reading John Hammer. Have you debunked him? I've not heard of John Hamm. I try not to look at other researchers' work. Because I can't help it. I end up kind of doing video on where they're wrong because I just want the real evidence out there. And if I've got evidence and they haven't, then I end up doing that. Which is, a lot of people don't like me doing it, but I can't help it. So unless someone says go look at such and such, I try not to. So I apologise. I've not come across John Hammer. So there's only a few other researchers that I would ever need to look at. And even when I do look at, when I watch lectures in museums of someone talking about tablets, I can even pick them up that they're wrong on certain bits. So, yeah, I try not to. Mika's wrote, I'm probably the only one here who's seen aliens. Interesting. I'd love to know more, but it's coming up to 9, so I'm going to be shooting short soon. Brian's wrote, in Enki's perspective, saving the humans was fate. I don't think it was. I think he liked us as a race, and obviously Noah was his offspring, so I don't think he looked at it from that point as fate, because otherwise he would have told Enlil, no, it's fate to leave them and hide, tell him to go to the top of mountains and stuff. So if he believed in that, he would have probably argued that back. Mika's wrote, I think I'm part of the Hopi tribe. Interesting. I'd love to chat more. It's just time's ticking away here. Totally Ironics wrote, is Bigfoot sexy? Do you know what the funny thing is? I shouldn't really say this, but a previous girlfriend of mine was watching a documentary on Bigfoot and she goes, oh, he's sexy. I'm like, it's freaking Bigfoot. What's wrong with you, woman? So, yeah. I'm not with her anymore. I can't compete with Bigfoot. I'm only 6'4". Messi wrote, world's best researcher. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Messi. You don't have to lie like that. Oh, bless you. Free Spirit has wrote, green that changes colour with gold and even red. Tent sometimes is mine, so I don't know. I'm not sure what that was referring to. Free Spirit has wrote, go watch your show. Thank you, whoever's doing the hearts. I'm guessing you mean people to go watch my videos, maybe. Polly's wrote, is the YouTube channel the same name? Outro History. Yeah, it might have some numbers after it, but you can honestly get to everything from my website. So if you go to the videos on my website, it takes you to the YouTube channel, so you can get to them from there. It's a lot easier to find because Google has blocked me from finding me my stuff, clearly. EM has wrote, JK, some are good. Not sure what that was referring to. I might have missed something. Deborah's wrote, thank you for all you do. Something like, you're more than welcome. Bless you. History's wrote, as soon as you mentioned them, your numbers drop. Read that one. Trinology's wrote, I'm so happy to see us all waking up. There's some good people now, aren't there, on here? At least. Trinologies wrote, this live truly gives me for humanity, honestly. Sorry, my boy's doing something. Hope gives you hope for humanity. EM has wrote 111. I'm not sure what 111's referring to. We're almost there, Clark. Polly's wrote, Coast to Coast is a fascinating podcast. It is. Unfortunately, some of those research, and I don't mean to sound, it really does come across wrong. But always do your own research is probably the best way I should say it. Scottish wrote, what's your thoughts on catching big orbs in photos? Obviously, dust particles are a thing. They do happen, especially when the camera tries focusing and when there's a shard of light there that catches a glimmer of it. I mean, you would need to really look hard to see whether or not you think it's a real orb or not. I mean, real orbs are real as far as I'm concerned. And I've seen videos of orbs do things that, dust certainly wouldn't do. I've mentioned before there was an orb outside of a church, and there was a security camera outside a church and one inside, and the orb flies right through the wall or a window. I'm not sure what it did, and it came out the other side, and that's not dust. And the window was shut, or the wall was solid. Nicky's right. Mods are the best. They are, aren't they? We will be. EM is right. We will be able to break the chains they have on us. No. The last 2 years has proved how people are willing to accept absolutely anything that the news channels tell us, and the news channels are owned by you know who. EM is right. What if they have a plan B? The elites are going to get us, as we're too stupid to stop them. We're in a frying pan right now, and they're turning up the heat, and we don't even know it. Just look at all the laws and all the things they're doing, and the currencies. And Polly's wrote, it's on the Paranormal Radio app. I'm guessing that's coast to coast. Nicky's wrote, sir, we have. Have we ever had crop circles in the UK? So have we ever had crop circles? Oh yeah, we have probably the most crop circles in the UK ever, than anywhere else in the world. So yeah, absolutely. You'll find them not too far from Stonehenge. Most of them, but of course, obviously, we don't. Back in the day, we probably had a lot more farmland and a lot more crops, but now obviously we've cut that right down. So, but yeah, we have crop circles here in the UK, genuine ones. Troy's wrote, now every time I see a ghost I think of aliens. Message wrote, what area is the highest concentration of real crop circles? Wiltshire, in the UK. People have tours, so basically when a farmer sees a crop circle, they ring up these people. These people bring up their group, so you could join the group, and you all get on a plane and go there, and you sit there. And some people have been cured of cancer, some people have been cured of arthritis, etc., by sitting in a true crop circle. So that's why people do it, and the farmer gets paid. Everyone's happy, and it's all controlled. History's wrote, sir, I thought you was calling me a genius. Oh, you are a genius. David Jesus wrote, space in 20... Nearly there, Clark. Nearly there. Space in 2020 began landing rockets that fouled, most of them how NASA 1969 landed. Thank you, Scottish, for the finger heart there. NASA... No, I believe that the NASA faked that moon landing. Thank you, History and Crimes, for the donut. Donut. I believe the original moon landings were fake. Polly's wrote, outstanding input outstanding input and time, blessing old chap. Oh, thank you very much. David has wrote, space in 2020 began landing. Read that one. That was one you repeated. Polly's wrote, are you a Red Dwarf fan? I've even filmed, I'm friends with Norman. Love it. So he's been in a couple of my films. So yes, big Red Dwarf fan. Brian Johnson wrote, sorry, I meant Destiny, not Fate. Okay, that makes more sense. Troy's wrote, where are the aliens? Where are they now? Thank you, History, again, for the donut. Most of them died. The younger ones are probably assimilated into powers of position in the... Oh, Clark, you got a donut. No, not for real. Someone sent it on here. Right. Sorry, Clark. Just sit down for 2 seconds. The longer look, I've only got 25 questions left. I'm so close. So, yeah, I think they're in positions of power. Mythic has wrote, thank you, I signed up on your Patreon. See you there. Oh, bless you. Honestly, I think you will be blown away by... Obviously, my normal TikTok videos blow people away, but the long edited ones blow you even more away. Troy's wrote, have a great night. Thank you very much, Troy. Ninjas wrote, did you see the jellyfish UFO? I have. I had heard reports of things like that years and years and years ago, so it didn't surprise me. So I would probably say it's more than likely real. Scottish wrote, I'm so glad I found you because it's the only thing that has made sense, the God stuff. So thank you. Ah, you're more than welcome. Please, if you are interested in this and you've not researched too much, on my website, outtruehistory.co.uk, you can search for certain things. You can search for Jesus or God or whatever you want to search for. But if you want to watch it in a chronological order, so it goes through, you know, Sumerian, Egypt and Greece and all that kind of stuff in a chronological, so it makes sense. Just click on the videos, and then I've done them in sets of 5 or sets of 50. So just watch them. You can either watch 5 minutes or an hour in one go, 1 to 50, 51 to 100, and so on. Watch them, and it lays it all out beautifully so that you don't get confused by jumping in and just looking up pyramids, for example, on the search one, and you'll go, well, who created the pyramids? And then you have to find the video that says who created it. Whereas on the sets, they're all done in such a way that you get to find out, about Bigfoot. You get to find out all that kind of stuff. Mona Lisa has wrote, have you seen the series His Dark Materials? I started watching it. I gave up. It's probably not the program. My daughter's watched it, but I really need things to go quite quick, as you'll probably tell by the way I talk and stuff. Chantel's right, are you going to talk about anything interesting, e.g. the list on the screen? Only when people ask me. It's not I don't cut people off from their questions just to waffle on about something, although technically sometimes I probably do, but you just have to ask the questions. Scottish wrote, wow, that's an interesting thing. You're more than welcome. Moses wrote, yeah, I'm nearly there. I've got 20 questions left. Moses wrote, can we break the chains? Depends on what generation you come from. That's true. The Big Joe Shows wrote, I'm back, guys. Sorry I had to go and graffiti first in the class twice. All over my local town. Bless you. Big Joe got twice today in first position in this in my class. What I'm doing here now. Nikki's wrote, what do the crop circles mean? Has anyone understood them? Yes, Our True History has. Not in terms of reading them, but exactly why they're there. I give the best logical answer as to why, when, who, what, and where. So just watch again. Probably best you watch my videos in order if you haven't already done so, and you'll get to the crop circles, and I explain why the big orbs do it, and where the big orbs go after, and stuff like that. It's all amazing stuff. Scrolling down. Message wrote, jellyfish UFOs, sentinels in Matrix. I would probably just say a UFO type thing as opposed to something for the Matrix, but I mean I could be wrong on that. Polly's wrote, I'm a little disappointed with the aliens they find. Didn't know what I expected. I'm guessing you're referring to the Mexican aliens. I have done actually a documentary on the Mexican aliens on my Patreon page. There's thousands other on my YouTube and website, but the Patreon ones I do, deep documentaries in. So that's on there if you're interested in the thing. It's 9 o'clock. Oh, so I've caught up now. Thank you very much, History, for the time. Scottish wrote, I'm obsessed with your videos. I can watch for hours. Oh, bless you. I've had people on these live chats say, I stayed up all night binge watching your videos. Thank you. And then normally the comments I get is, why aren't you bigger than you are? And I say it's because I don't eat too many donuts. No, they say, why aren't you sort of more famous? Because you're absolutely amazing. And I'm like, well, it's down to you guys to spread the word. Because I don't show my face, I think is probably the problem. Big Joe has wrote 2 questions. One, do the Easter Island heads have huge bodies below the ground underneath them? Unfortunately, Big Joe, I have done a video on Easter Island. It's on my Patreon page. It's a documentary. It's worked out stuff that no one else has worked out. So I can't really tell you here because it's on. If I tell you here, then there's no point in me making these long documentaries on my Patreon page. So it's an Easter Island video telling you stuff that people haven't even thought of, as usual, and showing that. Just watch it. Basically, bottom line, I'll give you a little hint. Bottom line, the Easter Island statues were covered over by the flood. That's why they're half buried. Watch my videos. You know I show evidence, so watch that. Nikki's wrote, I bid you good night, sir. Always a pleasure. Never a chore. Oh, bless you. Thank you. Polly's wrote, night, night, guys. Ah, thank you again. Big Show. Has someone damaged or removed all the Easter Island heads, as Billy Carson claims? If you watch Billy Carson, you probably don't want to watch my videos, because you know I debunk Billy because he's not great, and I show evidence. So all I can say is I've done my homework far better than Billy has, and it's on my Patreon page. Sorry to push you to that. It's only a couple of quid. You get over 100 odd documentaries. Every week something's news being added. Norse Gods is being added next weekend. So all I can say is that I'm so sorry. Don't hate me, and you'll find out. Did you know that there was even a Maui statue at the bottom of the ocean? Did you know that? Go watch my documentary. I'm that good. Kerry's wrote, do you believe that the words of the Lord and Jesus were replaced? What really has to be in the Bible? So basically, the Bible copied older texts in different languages. So when you realise that, the best thing to do is either watch my videos. I know it's not me trying to push you to watch them, but I do show the tablets that the Bible copies from, and the wording and stuff. So it's probably easier to do that, or look at the tablets yourself. You're more than welcome. But yeah, so I obviously I can't go each individual word in, but so for example, in our likeness is in the Columbia University tablets. So the tablets are there. It's just and the real meaning behind them is to do with that. Moses wrote, me too, almost there, Clark, 9 left. Moses wrote, I definitely promote you. Oh, thank you. I'm sure you do, the way you help me out here by typing stuff in and telling people whatnot with my address. Thank you. Jeannie's wrote, have a good evening. Thank you very much. Manga's wrote, explain about Billy, bro. Just watch my videos. Scroll down on my pinned videos. Don't hate me for doing this. I only ever want the evidence out there. I'm sure Billy would do the same if he actually researched. So scroll down on my videos on my TikTok. Look for the ones in yellow writing where it says, why follow me? Watch those and you'll see me debunk loads of people with evidence. And that's not because I want to. I just want the evidence. I don't want people coming at me, Billy said this, you're wrong. So watch that, you'll see, and you can make up your own mind. The Big Joe shows, I'm seriously going to watch the video on Patreon pals now. Oh, thank you. Moses wrote, go on, you sell your story, keep it private. Thank you. Sorry, yeah, because I do. I spend, like this Norse one, I've spent 4 weeks already, every single day researching Norse gods to be able to get to the point, to be able to work out. And so if I just blurt it out now, then it was, I get nothing for it. Not saying I want money, but I like making the long documentary, and I spend a weekend editing it so that I can give you it all in a proper order, so that you watch it and understand it. Hopefully, that's the plan. Scottish Row, how often do you go live? Sadly, pretty much too often. Sometimes nearly every day. So guilty. Moses right, I bet it must be literally hard to keep it all in and not sell yourself short. You've probably heard me. I can't help it. Gen X is right. Why do you think the Anunnakis had to guard the gate of the space and ocean? You think humans had tech? No, it's an interesting one. Can I go through that later with you another time? It's because I'd like to put you in top of the class for that, but literally I'm about to shoot. So if you could hold that thought, Gen X, and we'll go through that next time, if that's okay. Because I feel guilty cutting you off and not giving you the full attention. Moses wrote, and still exist in the real world, you've got a family. Ah, thank you. Yeah, no, I should have fed my boy an hour ago. Nikki's right, I often wonder, is there anything you couldn't understand? There was. I mean, like the Nazca lines, I didn't understand why the top of a mountain was sliced off till I did some amazing research and worked out no one else did. I was unsure what Göbekli Tepe was for. until I did my own research and found out what that's for. Yes, you can find out too. Just watch my videos. So there are things that I don't know, but you know, if I do enough research, I'll either find it or I won't. And if I don't, then if I can't find it without sounding big-headed, no one's going to find it. So, yeah, there is still things that I don't know yet. Janex was right. Yes, I will be on. Oh, thank you, Piggy Peanut. What a cool name. Scottish wrote, so it was so nice to meet you. Good night. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say. Nikki's wrote, bottom line is you always find out. You always find out amazing. Thank you. I'll try. I might, I was going to say I might be wrong, but I'm probably not. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, no, it's nice. Thank you. Big Joe shows. Thank you, God, and thank you everyone for another great live. You're more than welcome. Thank you, guys. And Clark's just said thank you. He's sitting here now as well. Kerry said thanks, boss. No, thank you, Kerry. Without you blocking people and stuff. Yes, I'll make you food now, Clark. And Message wrote, thank you for your time, sir. You're welcome again. James has wrote, thank you, Clark. Clark, you're going to get your own show soon.
Yeah.
You can talk about what? What's your favourite thing?
The weather.
The what?
The weather.
The weather?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. Where did you hear that from?
I don't know.
You don't know. Everyone's telling you they love you, Clark.
Yeah.
And they don't even know you. It's because you're amazing, Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Message wrote, you're making me want to go Patreon. I'm not technical savvy. I don't use the What's the World digital system. Just watch I've got 1,000 videos on my website or TikTok, but it's easier to get to on my website. And I've got other live chats, so you don't have to go to the Patreon. I know it's only a couple of quid, but you don't have to go there. I've got a lot of stuff, on my website. Go feed Clark, people saying. Weather with Clark. Yeah, I know, I don't know why you come out with weather. Moses has wrote, exactly to understand the weather. Clark, do you know the weather? Yeah? What happens at night? No, what happens at night? What? The dark, that's right, well done. Sean wrote, who does the muting? The mods do. James has asked a question. I'm gonna have to shoot now, guys. I've got to do my boy dinner. I should have done it an hour or so ago. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you very, very much for all your help to everyone. Thank you for the amazing questions. I do have a website, outruehistory.co.uk. You can get to everything from there, and you're more than welcome saying thank you, everybody. And I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Oh, in Clark's just said bye. All right. See everyone later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Right, Clark. Okay, let me just... Right, they've gone now.
Bye.
Yeah, now, Clark.
Oh.
Where did you put my wand?
What one?
My magic wand.
I don't have one.